You are now listening to the Sae Bae Cast, the #1 old school RuneScape podcast featuring guests from all across Galanor. To support this podcast, visit the Patreon link in the description.
All right, welcome to the Sae Bae Cast, number 114 with Gnomonkey. Gnomonkey, big fan. How are you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing all right.
Hell yeah. Okay, lots and lots of stuff has been happening in old school. Some beta tests, some new announcements, just things are just... It feels like there's just so much going on, and I feel like I haven't actually talked to a lot of PVMers lately, and I have not done my due diligence in talking about these things and actually having like data to back up anything. So so I'm excited really to talk about like all the new stuff that's coming out and to hear your takes on these things. But other than that, also just kind of getting to know you a little bit more because as I said right before we started recording, just like how cool it's been to just see a fresh streamer kind of popping off like really hard. So it's just I always love to see that personally. So
I never expected this. It's been crazy.
It's awesome, huh? Just like I don't know. It's just cool to see that, you know, if you put in I just feel like you actually really do care about like your craft. You're super talented, and I'm just gonna be tooting your horn right now. Just I hope you'll forgive me for this. But like,
oh, I love my horn tooted.
So it's just cool to see like you're truly dedicated to your craft and you're putting in the hours and you're very consistent with your streams and your rambles are excellent, and it's just cool to see it all kind of becoming something. So anyway, enough of that.
So good.
Yeah. So let's just get a little bit of an introduction for those that maybe don't know who you are. So who are you, Gnomonkey?
I am Gnomonkey. I'll start with when I started RuneScape. It was 2009, so I wasn't even like an OG, like 07 player. And I actually didn't come to old school for a long time. I played RS3 until like 2017. I had a max cape. I was working on comp cape, and they didn't give any updates. Like there was very, very little going on in the game, and I was just bored. So I came over here. I've done guides for years and years on YouTube. I've been very, very newbie, and then this like last year I've been like really working on improving like as a player and like doing a lot of hard PVM and that kind of thing. So that's been kind of where I'm at now, but that's not always been the case.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah. So yeah, basically just you're a PVMer, I would say, like as a player, right? Do you have
sure.
any is there any part of you that would like to dabble into PKing or skilling, or are you just
I saw people were asking that. I have my issue with PvP is that it's just all random roles. So like in this game it feels like I play a lot of like other like shooters and stuff. Like I played competitive Team Fortress and Overwatch for a bit. And in games like that, it's like when you're fighting other people, it's like fair. You're like on an even balance. But like with RuneScape, it's a random roll on everything. And obviously it's like there is a lot of skill involved. But like I remember people in my Discord being like who PK being like, oh, the tracker, like, oh, I beat him on the tracker, but he still beat me anyway, you know, that kind of thing. So It's like, I don't know. It's just not my thing, I don't think.
It's pretty tilting. Have you done any LMS?
Literally none. Oh
my god. It is that tracker was the death of PvP. Like seriously,
seems like the bane.
It is so tilting to know that you're just dominating actually, but you're just getting RNG'd. It's horrible.
But they're landing every freeze, they're hitting maxes. Peace.
Yep. What about skilling? Has that ever appealed to you?
I actually do a good amount of. I am maxed. I don't know. I've done a lot of like AFK pet hunts and stuff, but
But it wasn't.
Nothing,
it wasn't from the love
crazy.
of skilling. It was like the pet.
No,
hunting.
I'm not after like XP or like love doing skilling all day. That's not really my thing. But
Okay.
I do enjoy it. It's not bad.
Okay. So I just want to press our way into the first sort of topic that I want to talk about, which is Ruinous powers. And that is, for those that don't know, the new prayer book that Jagex has been working on. We had a beta with it for a couple weeks, I believe, or maybe it was just 1 week. I can't remember if it was 1 or 2 weeks, but yeah, they came out, and I want to hear your thoughts before I start spilling my own. So, what were your initial thoughts on Ruinous powers, and then what are your thoughts like today on them, if they've changed at all?
The first that first day, I was so like tilted from the order of the prayers, like more than like anything about them. Just like the protection prayers being in the top left. And then the offensive prayers below that and shifted 2 to the right. It's just like all of my muscle memory was out the window. Like it felt impossible to play. But I don't know. I feel like the prayers are close to being good. A lot of them need a lot of work, and they were very, very buggy in the beta. Like a lot of them, for sure. I felt a little bad because the one I really wanted and suggested was Vindication with the redemption change, where when you proc redemption, it gives you the damage buff. It turned out it was really, really broken. Like with a locator orb spamming it, it's like insane at bloat in a couple places. I was like, oh man. But you know, you don't know. You just throw out ideas.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of things that need to change. I remember like day of, people were one-shotting everything too with Fumus Vow. Just there was a bug, I think it was Vorkath Venom. If you were venomed with him, you could just one-shot everything in the game. Just very, very buggy.
Yeah. But other than the bugs, was there anything else besides? And I gotta say, I'm just gonna say this right now. Like the prayer reordering just needs to be a thing. I'm sorry.
It has to be.
Yeah.
RuneLite's capable of it. They can put it in. Just gotta allow it.
Yeah.
It's been in the game before, so.
So today, are there any other thoughts that maybe, after the beta close that you've kind of been thinking of, or are you pretty much like on board with it? I know I did watch your ramble, and it sounds like obviously there are some prayers that are just completely pointless.
Yeah.
But some that are pretty good that should stay.
I think they did a good like first draft. I think it's really close. A lot of the vows are just like either used in 1 or 2 places or used everywhere. Like Umbra's Vow is used for a few hits, drains some defense, and then it turns off. Glacie's Vow, I did the calcs on how much damage it adds, and it's like typically a 1/5 to a 1/10 of a thrall, and it drains like as much as a protection. It's so bad. It's so useless. Like you would never ever use it. Because it rolls against defense of monsters. I checked even against like Thermi, where he has 1 mage, and it's still like it adds 0.2 DPS, and a thrall is 0.6. It's like completely useless, like just not tuned at all. And then they said they were going to change Fumus, so it only works if the target poisons you. And I'm thinking about that, like where would that even be good? Like shamans in chambers and the spitting scarab at Toa, like where else would you even use? Because if it's the target has to poison you, like would like Zarpus poison splats on the groundwork because he's not targeting you? I don't think so.
Yeah,
it's like I don't know. It feels so niche or so like good everywhere broken, and that's just a balancing like deal. But.
So what was your like favorite prayer out of them? I have them pulled up on my end because I swear there are just a bunch. I'm actually gonna probably just pull them up for.
Oh, I love Gambit. Gambit's so fun to use. Gambit's the overhead with the 8% accuracy. It's just so fun to like flick between that and your main overhead. There's a lot of like smart things you can do. Like there's a lot of monsters you're like flinching underneath, like Nex you do that with, or Vanguards and CMs. And you can like flick Gambit, do the hit, switch to protection prayer as you step out and be safe. There's a lot of like smart, like fun play you can do.
That's cool.
It's really, really satisfying.
So
and it also just melts Tecton, which makes me like it more.
Dude, okay, I've been watching a lot of Scotty doing his CMs and like okay, hear me out. You may have heard this before, but I need to bring it up because okay, so you know how Inquisitors, okay, You know how you're running to Nightmare and you see those people with like the two-handed Dragon Warhammer, like up by Nightmare? Have you ever seen like those NPCs that are just holding? Like,
Oh, yeah,
those?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you're talking
Anyway,
about.
so that's pretty much irrelevant. But just because those people are there, it could be tied into some lore. But I was like, dude, Inquisitors needs to have a passive effect that just guarantees a Warhammer spec. I'm sorry.
I've always said that. Yeah.
Watching people reset that first room is just ridiculous. I mean, it's 2023. Can we just move on and just make it so you could just guarantee a hammer at this point if you have full
It's
Inquisitors?
so ridiculous in max, like, super crush armor that's like supposed to be good at that. You're still like sub 50% accurate on the first hammer. It's so dumb. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
It literally is just quality of life. Like, real, yes, things will be slightly altered, I guess, like metas potentially, but like, oh my god, please just let
Ink
us
is
have that.
so bad anyways.
It's
like, it needs
so
that.
bad. I
It's
know.
so useless.
Yeah, I've been a huge fan of that. So just like, please, Inquisitors, full Inquisitors gives Dragon Warhammer a guaranteed spec. I'd actually
Hell
go back
yeah,
to Corp
please.
immediately too, because then I could just.
Oh man,
guarantee-
yeah, it'd be huge there. Yeah.
That'd be nice. Okay, so one of the problems in my head with the prayers. Now, obviously, I will finally get to that point of me saying I want to have the whole thing scrapped. I do remain open minded,
Okay.
but I do want to share just a few of my things. So first of all, if this does come out, obviously the prayers need to be reordered. Like, you need to be able to reorder them in any position.
Yeah, no question.
The other thing was, I know AddyCon's spoken about it. I made rambles way before like the whole beta worlds came out. But seriously, I'm not a huge fan of the 90% protection. And
Yeah, no.
I like the 100% protection, but I'm okay. And I know there's still going to be downsides to this, but I would really prefer it just be an extra 10% damage if you flick the wrong prayer.
Yeah, I think they should try that in the next beta for sure. The issue with the chip damage is that it either like doesn't matter at all, like Tob, like you barely even notice it, or it makes it unplayable. Like triple Jads in Inferno, you use like 3 or 4 brew.
Oh,
like
yeah.
you're not.
That's just
It's not
ridiculous.
usable there. It's just completely. So it's like it either makes it unusable at content or it doesn't matter. Which is like, what is it really adding? Does that add anything? Nah, I don't know. I feel like it should be more interesting. I'd like the off-prey extra damage. That's a good idea. I was
It's
agreeing
really
with
cool.
Addy.
I'm a huge fan of that. Yeah.
It's got a couple issues too, but I think it's still the best option because like Olm, like if you think about like Olm off hits, like you're just gonna occasionally take like a big boosted hit from him, or like anywhere there's like multiple attacks you can hit by it would be kind of annoying. But I think that's still like probably the best option because it'd be so much less bad than chip prayers, and then like actually encourage like properly hitting your prayers. It's just a way better system than just generally taking 10% more damage. It's so stupid.
Okay. Going off of that, I'm just curious of your general thoughts on this. Do you think it's a fun mechanic? Or, okay, maybe I shouldn't ask that. What are your thoughts on mechanics that are completely RNG? For example, Olm's auto attack, which is just, I think it's 1 in 4 shot of just switching.
Yeah, it's the worst is Akka, where he has I want to say it's like a 30% chance to change styles, and then you're just doing like 30% less DPS for several minutes. It's so
Yeah, that is bad.
it's
That is
bad. Anything that's like that, where it's like, especially if it's not caused by you, it's just like completely random.
Yeah.
It's like really, really annoying.
Yeah. Mainly, like, I want to kind of share that because it's just like, is there a better way to go about it? I understand some bosses, some places, yes, you should be able to take damage that's uncontrollable, maybe. I guess I can get behind that sentiment of just like, okay, there's
places where that's used well. I think like Verzik P3 is great, and you take chip damage there, but it's got like break periods where you've like running webs. It's got the yellows where you can heal up. It's just like designed around that. They thought about it very carefully. You can tell, but there's a lot of bosses with chip damage that are just like super annoying to deal with for sure.
The good thing about Verzik is you can actually pray every time and obviously get that.
Yeah, you can catch
but
him.
You could still, I mean, you're still dealt damage clearly, but like you can at least, I don't know, not just get
There
totally fucked.
has to be that at bosses, because otherwise you don't like need any supplies or anything. So it's kind of like a balance. You don't want it to be overtuned like Mudadile, where it just has a chance to hit you 50s, but you don't want it to be like. I think Verzik is like perfect design there.
Yeah.
Just like she makes you eat, but you can be smart about it, and there's a lot of like clever plays around taking damage. Taking damage should not be like frustrating if it's going to be chip damage. It should be like fun to deal with. As weird as that sounds, it's not usually fun to deal with taking damage, but Verzik has a lot of smart plays where you can like not waste time or DPS like dealing with it.
So with Olm, do you think that it's fine that there's just like a 1 in 4 chance of it switching and you can just get jatted several times and just take a obscene amount
It's
of
so
damage?
frustrating.
Like,
I don't know. I don't know how they could improve it. Maybe make it a set amount of hits or something.
The set amount of hits would actually be probably more frustrating, to be honest, because then you have to like have a counter or just ruin
I don't want to
counts
count.
for
Maybe
you.
after like each special, he would switch, so then it would be always at the same time you switch your prayer. Like they could do that. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah, I've always been a fan as well of just like maybe like a slight animation in the head that's like, hey, like he just switched attacks. You could probably miss it, but it's similar to like what Hydra does at this point, where like
that would be fine for sure.
Yeah. I just wonder, like, the future of the game. Like, are we okay with this? Because I really think that, obviously, the game devs are really starting to understand what's fun. I think, at least that's kind of, like, what I'm feeling. Like, the latest updates have been really good. Like, I feel like it's catering to fun more than just, like, we have to push out something like Nightmare original, not Fasani's original Nightmare. Like that was like a total shit show. That was just not fun in any way. It just wasn't. But TOA was really good. I personally, it's not my absolute favorite piece of content. I think the biggest reason is because of Baba and just the monkey room. I hate all that. I do not like the monkey room.
I have many things I dislike about Toa, but Toa at its core is okay. But like, there's a lot of like things that like irk me. I wish they'd go back and refine it a little bit. They could definitely improve it for sure.
Yeah, they'll probably refine it like they did Chambers, just like 3 years down the road. Make some
did
really
that
nice
feedback
changes.
form asking a few updates back, like if we wanted changes, and like, so I'm hoping. We'll see.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess I'm kind of just going on a ramble at this point of like things I don't like. Another problem with Olm. Let me know what you think about this. Is scuffed and unscuffed Olm.
It's just that happens at so many different places. Maiden as well, with the scuffed crabs on freezing. It's like,
oh really?
I don't know what. It's just like a thing across the game. I don't fully understand how that works, but I'd love that to be patched. It's just really annoying. It's just like completely random. Changes everything.
Yeah, it's random, and it's just super frustrating when it's unscuffed Olm, because you're just getting hit by crystals before you can even really do it. Like
smashed.
Like you literally have to have perfect ping, and you have to be on top of things to dodge all crystals. It's insane.
Yeah, that's frustrating for sure.
Yeah, I wonder what that is. Some players, I just wanted to hear your. Well, it's good to hear that you don't like that, because there are some players that have this weird mentality where like if it's in the game initially, like just keep it in there because that's part of like what makes the content like pure.
Oh no,
I guess.
Dude,
Like all
Chambers
the
is
stupid
so
bugs
scuffed across the board. It has so much weird stuff. It could use some work still too, but.
Yeah. Okay. So I want you to. Okay, this is my problem going back to Ruinous powers.
Mm-hmm.
Is it seems like it's a lot. It seems like a lot of change is happening. Obviously, it's just one prayer book. We can see it just that way. It's like, okay, it's just a prayer book that you can use if you want to. There will be a lot of new metas, obviously, around it. But the thing that scares me, and I talked about it with Ari Slash last week, is just logging into RuneScape and it feeling different, and it feeling like, oh, we have an entirely new prayer book that I've never used before. Most places I probably won't even use the standard prayer book anymore, and it just feels strange. So
it's scary. I remember when they first polled it, I was very torn on voting yes or no to that. I did end up voting yes, but it took some mulling. There's so many ways they could mess it up, which is really like worrying. But I think it also has the potential to improve combat and make it more interesting. So I'm like torn. I don't know. I don't fully trust anybody with like something as altering as like a fully new prayer book, it's like it makes me very nervous. But
Okay, but you
yeah,
still lean on actually having it out as long as it's done well.
I'd like to see the game push forward. I want to. There's always like the jokes of, oh well, I guess we need EOC. There's nothing else they can add, and that's like obviously completely ridiculous. Like, of course they can add more stuff, but prayers are like the biggest like skill expression in the game, and if they can add to that, it doesn't necessarily have to be a whole book either. I don't know. I've seen people suggest like adding singular prayers off it as like scrolls. That would work too. But adding things like Gambit, where it's like a new thing that you're flicking to between protections and that kind of thing, it really like pushes like what you're doing at any given piece of content. It's very fun.
Yeah, and it doesn't feel annoying. It feels actually like it has that rhythm to it, like you were saying at Next. You can kind of like flick it on and off, and just I think there is. So that was kind of what I was leaning on, is the idea of just keeping the standard prayer book, but just having like 4 new prayers released. That was my idea, mainly because I still want to push the boundaries of the game. And I can definitely see a new prayer book. Who knows? Maybe it is time for the new prayer book. I feel like maybe just altering what the prayers look like. I think that's another thing that just kind of like irks me, is just it all looks like Arceus spells.
Have you seen the new Soul Split and Deflect Melee on Next too? They just did that, I think, last update.
Oh, did they? I don't.
They're
think
like
I've seen
cotton candy pink now. I'm like, come on,
my
man,
God.
why?
Yeah. And I wonder if they even could make it not look like that. I feel like regardless of what the prayers look like, it'll be impossible to just match the nostalgia that we've been used to for 20 years of the standard prayer book.
It's not fair. It's not fair.
It really
sure,
isn't
but
fair.
I feel like they could still use some work. Like, I explained, the offensive prayers all have. If you look at the regular prayer book, all the like piety, rigor, augury, they're all like highlighted in blue. It's like really obvious.
Oh yeah,
like
yeah.
those are offensive prayers. The new prayer book doesn't do that. They're just like in the corner, up in the top right, and they're all like cotton candy, different colors, just completely random.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like the visual like clarity on the prayers are really, really important, and it just was kind of neglected.
Yeah, I feel like the main theme of like the kind of dark purple-ish, something about the purple. I know like not all the prayers are purple, but it just seems like there's a purple. There's like a purple hue to everything. Now, to be honest,
is.
The standard prayer book kind of has that purple hue as you kind of go down, which I sort of understand. But
I think I was looking at it. I think the normal prayer book even has some like issues with it, and we've definitely just like overlooked a lot of that because of nostalgia. But like, it does have like visual clarity. Like, all the protection prayers are highlighted the same thing. All the offensive prayers are highlighted the same thing. They're all in like a nice little box at the bottom. I don't know if any of that was even intentional originally, but it did work out that way.
It works out really nicely, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder. Yeah, it's just tough. If we could move the prayers around with the new, if Ruinous powers came out as is, obviously that would be bad. But like, if whatever the little changes they make, and as long as you can move around the prayers, I think we could get used to it. Again, I'm not a huge fan of the 90% protection. I'd rather it be 100. That alone would kind of make things just feel better. Now, I listened to your ramble, and I like that everything's just like, you obviously tested it at a bunch of different places and then shared your thoughts. Is there anything that would be bad in, and I know you're not the person to ask probably, but like PvP? Do you know of anybody that's been talking about the effect of these prayers on PvP? I know both of us.
I know
in that, but
Metabolize, the silly like meme bread prayer, people were like yelling at me for calling it useless because it's really good in PvP. It reduces your cooldown on eating, which is strong. I forgot you even use hard food in PvP because I don't do it, but I'm trying to think, would anything be insane? I don't know. I've heard complaints about Smite being like ridiculous. But I don't really know. I haven't messed with that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we'll see. Okay, so there's also 4 brand new bosses coming out with Desert Treasure 2. We haven't really heard much about like all the mechanics. All I've really heard, you correct me if I've heard if there's been other news on it, but it seems like there's the base difficulty of these 4 bosses is going to be around Vorkath-ish.
Yeah, that's what they've said.
And then it kind of goes up from there. So what are you expecting the hardest boss to be like in terms of difficulty?
Nah, I don't think any of them are going to be hard whatsoever. Probably like around Hydra and Vorkath, I would assume all of them.
Oh god.
I think they might have implied one will be a bit harder, but I don't think it's going to be anything crazy.
Okay.
Not expecting anything.
Is that bad to not have things go crazy? Or is it just fine?
I don't mind the occasional. I really liked Muzpa. I don't mind the occasional like mid-level boss being added, but I'm definitely craving something more interesting and challenging. It's been a minute.
Yeah, and you've pushed the limits on TOA. That
yeah.
Now I totally agree with you on Wardens, Phase 3 Wardens. Just adding some new mechanics to that, because like you said, it's literally just move,
walk back and forth for many minutes on end.
Yeah, let's actually hear a little bit about TOA, I guess. I know I'm just going all over the place.
No, go for it.
TOA, you've just mastered that place. It feels like it's just a cakewalk for the most part. Now, what do you think are like the best things that TOA does right, and some of the flaws that you think could be, I guess, worked on?
I love a lot of the like tech we found at Akka. So much of this is unintentional, just with the way they made Monster's Path and TOA. But Akka, we have found so many things, like how to properly like skip the DPS checks, how to do all the like crazy zigzag patterns with Simon Says. We labbed out, me, Porkazar, G, Challenge, Sax, all like labbed out that like zigzag method I have where my ult follows me, and then I run the whole thing with the ult. It's so like
cool.
It's very satisfying. I love that. P4 and like end of Akka are like probably my favorite parts. They're very, very fun to deal with, and you like it feels so satisfying once you, because they're so hard and you die to them so much or get hit so much, and then eventually it like starts to click, and then you're like Neo in the Matrix, man. It's so satisfying.
So there is a click with that,
for sure,
with the come
for sure,
phase.
yeah.
So people that are just thinking this is just stupid and impossible,
it will eventually click. It took me a very long time, but
yeah, you just got to be patient. Like that's the biggest problem with that room is like just we're so accustomed to just not losing ticks. Like just go. If you need to lose a tick, like you might as well just.
There's a weird thing with that too, like in teams, or if you have a thrall up, you feel like pressured. You're like, oh, I'm losing hits if I don't like get there. So it makes it way harder. Especially for like the perfect like Akka achievement where you have to be duo. It's like now it's like there's so much pressure because you're like, oh, I want to get there and I want to do damage, but it doesn't. That's not the priority.
And you were talking about Wardens at the end of it. You were saying some suggestions, like maybe like a Zebak wave thrown in and just some other random stuff that can make it a little bit more
there's
difficult.
So much they could do. There's so many like different like boss like mechanics like just grab and throw in there. And that could even be like its own invocation. You could make it like Insanity 2 or something that adds like more like mechanics to the fight at the end. I was really disappointed by Insanity. Like I remember that first day we were reading the description and like, holy, the Wardens will become unstoppable. Okay. And then you turn on, it's like, it's
three tick instead of 4 tick. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's worth 50 raid level. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember it must have been like day 2 or something. I was streaming TOA and people were like, don't turn on Insanity. Don't do it. And I'm like, what? Like, I'm just going to do it because like eventually I'm going to be doing it. So like day 2, I was just running Insanity. I'm like,
yeah, same.
There's nothing crazy about it. It's literally just like move slightly quicker. I don't know. But yeah, you're right. There could be something added to make it more difficult, especially nowadays. Like now everyone's just done so much TOA. This is how it always goes though. I mean, the same with Inferno. Just Inferno was seen as absolutely impossible the first week. Just like, what the hell is this?
Yeah, I missed that. A lot of people misunderstand me when I talk about like adding stuff to TOA. They're like, "Oh, you're just so good. You get to play so much. It's not fair. You just want to make it harder for all of us." And it's like, no, I just want it to be fun and interesting at a high level. That's all. Like, I don't I don't want to like make it harder to get into. I don't really care about that. I
Yeah,
just want to
you're
enjoy it at the level I'm at.
Exactly. You're just talking about like just even pushing the invocations higher. Just
Sure. If it went up to like 800, that would be like so much more fun to deal with.
yeah, and it would be much more fun to watch too, especially when there's like that super high risk. Okay, like you've put on Insanity 2.0. Good fucking luck with this, you know? That would be insanely enjoyable to watch too.
If you want to push TOA past 500, it's like I could do 600, but then it's just like I have no special attacks. It's really annoying dealing with medic Kefri. It takes an extra like 4 or 5 minutes to do that. I take a bunch of chip damage from quiet prayers. It's not fun. So then like I've opted for add an alt and just like 1+1 it, which is it's like fun that I don't have to like worry about conserving prayer and it goes a lot faster. But even then, it's like it's lacking something. I don't know.
No, you're totally right, and that's part of the problem with those invocations. I don't know what their plans are for Raids 4. If it remains an invocation system, stop making invocations that are just limitations to your own thing. For example, that special attack thing is so dull. Like, what kind of invocation is that? Just here, do less DPS. Just here, have fun. Yeah,
you might as well add one that's like all your attacks are 1 tick slower. Like that's what it's like.
No,
so
that's exactly what it is. Like that sounds absurd, but that's exactly what the special attack thing is basically. And yeah, it's what they really need to do is focus on boss mechanics. Like, okay, you've added another boss mechanic for invocation points. Like you've added another one. Like so the complexity of these rooms becomes just like, okay, there's a lot to keep track of now.
There's a handful that are like I love feeling special. I think that might be my favorite invocation. I love that it makes Akka harder, and then it also speeds it up. It's like it's like rewarding you. It gives you raid level. It rewards you for good play if you can like deal with it. It's really satisfying.
Yeah, 100%. That's a great way to.
If they could like hit a couple more of those, I feel like there's not that many. There's like a handful, but if they hit a couple more of those, it'd be so much better.
What do you think about the puzzles of TOA? Do you think those?
I hate them.
Okay, so they're just a nuisance, basically.
I've been talking about RS3's Rise of the Six. That's like Barrows 2 in that game. They have you kill the Barrows brothers. It's like a duo boss. You're like killing the bosses on both sides. You kill the Barrows brothers. You have to time it at the same time. There's some communication going on, and then you hop over the gap, meet up with your team. When you're all ready, you loot the chest, and then the crypt starts collapsing. So you do like sepulcher with a timer, like trying to escape out of the crypt to keep your loot. There's no teleporting out or anything like that.
Oh shit.
So it's if they had some like pressure like that, if they had some like if you don't do this you'll die, or you walk into that back puzzle and it's like, oh, I was slow. Now a crocodile's gonna spawn. Okay, let me slowly kill him. Okay, let me go get another jug. Okay, I'm done with the room. Okay, you know, like every puzzle's like that.
You're totally right. It's just so awful. Walking into that. If it's anything other, okay, like a solo, I can deal with because it's just okay. I'm not gonna mess this up. Basically, I just have to go to 2 fountains. We're done. Move on. But I swear, if I walk into there like a duo or like a team or just anything, I'm just like, it's gonna be a shit show.
Imagine if like Kefri puzzle had like a slow like swarm of locusts like coming in from the back of the room, and if you were like too slow you start getting hit, or like something like anything to like make it like some pressure, because there's just nothing. It's just like take your time, do whatever you want.
Yeah, you're right about that. That would be a lot more fun. I was thinking, so initially when they were coming out with TOA, I was teasing on a bunch of Sae Bae casts like this idea of like Indiana Jones with like the boulder falling, just like go like you have to get this done or else we all get squished, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right about that. Do you think it would be
Monkey Room 2 is just a slog?
Dude,
it's so bad.
It's so bad. And the really interesting things that they could have added to it, they just didn't. For example, the exploding monkeys that could have exploded other monkeys. You could like.
That would be so cool. It'd be
like,
so fun. Why
isn't that a thing? They literally explode and they don't do anything to like. Oh my god! It's like you had a perfect.
It would be like a little mini chin. It would just like one shot everything. It would be so fun. It'd be so satisfying.
Yeah, it would.
And the fact the spawns are all like random and it's so slow. The cap is so low on the amount of monkeys in the room.
Oh,
Just
dude,
like
just the beginning of the
such
room.
a slog.
I know the beginning in a solo. I just okay. You kill the first 2 monkeys. Wait, literally 8 seconds for just anything to happen. Like, what is happening? Go. It's so bad.
It's sad because it's so similar to the Nihilocus, but Nihilocus is like my favorite room in Tub, and then like the monkey room is the monkey room. They've already done it properly. Just copy it. Whatever.
Yeah.
What can you do?
So, okay, for those that maybe don't have all the experience with Nihilocus, why is Nihilocus better?
Everybody hates Nihilocus for like a while. They're like, it's the most boring room. Usually until they're like a couple hundred KC. And then you realize there's like so much going on behind the scenes that like speeds it up. There's a cap up until like the middle wave. I want to say it's a 25 in the room or something like that. That prevents the next spawn from coming in. But the monkey room has the same thing, but it's one fucking monkey. So like there's a lot of like clever stuff like leaving the big Nihilocus and not, because when you kill a big Nihilocus, it splits into 2 little ones, which increases the like raises your cap further, preventing spawns. There's a lot of like, oh, okay, we're almost to that point where the cap increases, which is that middle spawn. Let's like leave the bigs alive. Let's not pop any of them. So it sends that next wave and then just like kill all of them and then kill everything in the room as fast as possible. A lot of smart, like you can use bulwark to like clear out the room at certain times. It's so satisfying. And a lot of that just like is unnoticed if you don't like try to go fast at a high level, but it's really, really fun behind the scenes.
So is the problem with the Baba monkey room, or like, sorry, just the monkey puzzle room, is that just because it's not static? Like it's everything's random?
Well, the cap is too low. You can't, when you have it be 1 monkey you can have left at a time before it sends the next spawn, you're gonna just be sitting there. You're like, okay, next spawn. I just cast that. Yeah, can I kill things? Oh, I can kill things now. Okay, cool. Nihilocus doesn't have that. You're always like trying to use every goddamn tick you have like efficiently. And then the random spawns, like shamans have in 1+1s, they have like 80 health. So it's like that last wave, that very last wave can just, it has the possibility to give you 1 shaman and 5 volatiles. Or I've seen it where it gives like 4+ shamans. And it's like,
God.
It literally takes like a minute or 2 longer if that happens.
Yeah,
it's so bad. They need
bad.
static spawn. I don't mind if they spawn in random spots, but they need to be static. Like you don't know what you're gonna expect. With bad RNG, it can be like a minute slower. Even at like a 300 speedrun level where like everything dies fast, it can be a minute slow because of that.
Yeah. Yeah, that whole room is just boring. You just walk in, you're like, oh, this is just, the place looks boring. The monkeys go slow.
There's a puzzle. I've got to stop killing things now. Let me go do that. Okay, I did it. All right, back to killing things. Okay.
So I was thinking, what if there was an invocation that's just turn off all puzzles and it's like -200. Just get out of here. And you just go into the... I was like, dude, if that was actually a thing, like nobody would ever do puzzles again. And I don't think
I'd be forced to use it then. It's so... I've seen that suggested with Medic as well. Like, oh, they should make it like 50 raid level instead. And it's like, but Medic isn't fun. Yeah. You don't want to feel forced to use it.
That's a good point.
I think, I don't know. They just shouldn't have these, or like seriously like overhaul them, because they're just so nothing. So bleh.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's so tough as a game dev. Like, I see it in the eyes. Like, I can try to kind of empathize with the game. I'm not a game dev whatsoever.
Yeah.
But just seeing TOA as, okay, this is not just a solo encounter. This has to be able to be playable in an 8-man, like up to 8 people. Yeah. And just trying to get all those mechanics right, trying to balance it as best as you can. That's got to be such a headache to just deal with every single possibility in the raid. Like, I don't know. It must be a lot easier to design something when its intention is, okay, this is just like a 1-person thing. Like Inferno feels very polished because there isn't the idea of having like 8 people in there. Dude, by the way, I got to say, the potential of like duo Inferno would actually be pretty cool. Obviously not Inferno with 2 people, but something like that where it's like, okay, now there's 2 people. going in a little bit more planning. Oh, that shit would be fun. That would be.
It was kind of a letdown that Toa is so like heavily solo based because it's that team content is so fun. Like, I wish they encouraged teams a little more into it. It feels like if you want to get your first 500, you don't ever want to do it in a team. It's not worth it. So it's just solo it. I love the like communication with teammates, like trying to be smart about placement, pre-planning, that kind of. It's so satisfying, but that's just kind of lost on Toa.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right. I'm like a solo raider, generally speaking. I did like all my chambers solo, most of it at least. And that's kind of what my game plan was for TOA. But I realized like I'm really just not enjoying this raid as much in solos.
I'm also a solo player usually, but that team focus is like what raid should be. I feel like first, like no question to me.
You're right. Thoughts on the TOA combat achievements? Do you think the difficulty was there?
They're so bad.
Why? Why do you say that?
It's so arbitrary. Why do half of them require a second person? I don't. Why do you need two people for Baba? I don't. It's a solo raid. Like, what is being added? So now they're hard because somebody else needs to do the achievement with you at the same time. Okay. I hate that. I hate that so much. It's not my achievement anymore. It's both of ours. Okay. And then the 8-man speedrun is just, what were they thinking? That's got to be the worst achievement in the game. Just because it's not, nobody runs 8-man. That's not like a competitive category. There's like 300 speeds is a thing, or 500 speeds even people do. Nobody does 8-man speedruns. That's not a thing. So they just like throw that out there. Now you need to find 7 other people who are like similar skill level to you to get.
Yeah.
If one person messes something up, it's over. That's so bad.
Wait, but I still haven't done it. That's like one of the tasks I'm missing. Just
okay.
Get this I'm probably gonna get it done next week, like early next week, because there's like
nice. Okay.
There's like some boosting Discord that's like, hey, we'll do your 8-man for free if you stream it. I'm like, hell yeah, I'll do that. All day,
easy.
Although I will say, I got to give a shout out to Mulgoat Kirby. That dude is like just running 8-mans for the community.
Dude, I can't believe he's doing that. I don't know.
Like, dude, crazy. That is the most wholesome thing I have ever said. Like, nobody else in the entire community would be willing to do something like that. Like,
I've watched that a little bit. There's always like somebody who'll mess something up, and he's always so like patient and caring. It's so
I know.
So strange.
He's way too patient. But just, you don't have to have the entire team survive, right? Just you and make it in time. Is that how it goes? Or does everyone need
you can die in rooms. You can't die at Warden at all. If you die at Warden, you don't get it.
Oh, okay. If anybody
caught
dies
me off
in Warden,
guard on day one because I didn't know that, and it's not in the description, and I didn't get the achievement when 6 other people did in my team. It was really cool.
Oh, that is tilting. Yeah, there's still some bugs with the CAs. I've realized, like, some just don't pop up if you fail or not, which is a little bit annoying.
Yeah, I think you can still, for that tier 75 achievement too, I think you can still bring kitted Rapier Sang, and I think you can still bring Red Bofa. I think those all still work.
Oh, really? Okay,
yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I might do a little bit of abusing. Okay, so you've obviously done all raids, so I got to ask the question, what is your favorite of the 3 raids?
Favorite's Tob. No question, it's Tob. I haven't learned everything about Tob. That's probably my like least like proficient. I think it's the hardest to master though, so that's probably why. I have done a lot of it. There's so much. It's so ridiculous. The best Tob players just are like in tune with the tick system to such a ridiculous degree. It's so absurd.
It just feels like a raid. Like TOB feels like you're entering something dark. And you're like, okay, we got our 5 rooms. Like, let's fucking go.
Yes.
It's always static. You don't have to go to the board and spend 10 minutes trying to figure out your invocations, whatever. It's like, no, just go in.
Go in, send it,
and kill boss. hit boss, basically.
No BS puzzles in between. It's just go. No boredom.
See, this is the problem. It's like for years before TOA was actually released, for years I was saying like there is room for puzzles. Like it would be cool to have puzzles in between rooms. And now after seeing TOA, I'm like, okay, maybe I was completely wrong on that. Like maybe I
think it could be done well. I think it could. But
it's so tough though to get that right.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Because if it's something too difficult, like I'm just imagining if it was just you're running from Maiden to Bloat and you got a literal like floor 5 sepulcher straight away. And you're just waiting for your teammates, and you got one dude that just can't get past it. Like, oh my god, like, go, dude.
You get mad at the one guy who messes up a trap and doesn't get to the gate fast enough, slows down your cycle.
I feel like
That'd
no
be kinda
matter
fun.
what, even if it was difficult, there's gonna be that just annoyance factor. That's just like, why is this here?
It's just kind of how it goes. Yeah, it's hard to. I think the Nilo room is closest to like the puzzle room in Tob, but it's so well made that it doesn't even feel like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, TOB I think just nailed it. It was such a prestigious raid as well. I think that's part of the reason why, at least in my eyes, it might not be the same for you. Of just I see TOB as like, okay, this was no joke. On release, I mean, you had to have a really, really good team to even make it.
Oh yeah, I've heard. I didn't get to experience it. I was like pretty low level. I want to say I was like 1,800 total when Tob came out. So I didn't really get that like day of release experience or anywhere close. I played it years after, but I've heard like stories from people of like the like process of learning it like early and then being like one of the few teams that can actually run it and making just so much money from like being the only people that can get size in like the whole game. Oh, that's so fun.
Dude, I had a friend solo series. He was like an Iron Man. He pulled like 4 scythes and like 300 KC, and they were like 4 bill.
Yes, for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, I just remember thinking, okay, scythes are 3.5 bill. It felt like for like half a year, scythes were just 3.5 bill.
It's just because nobody could do it. There's just such a limited section of the player base that could even do anything.
Yeah,
it's so fun.
That was kind of like the cool appeal about it. Was this truly was for the best of the best? Like this was a raid that not many people could enter. Now TOA, they went the opposite route and they wanted to be accessible to everyone. Do you think that is good, and do you think they should keep that for raids 4, or do you think they should go back to their roots of this is really impossible?
Invocations is a great idea. It's just a little scuffed on the execution, I think. It's great that it's accessible and people are getting into raids. I actually really like that. I don't like that like 150 is called normal and that 300 is called expert. If you compare a 300 in expert mode Toa raid to hard mode Theater of Blood or challenge mode Chambers of Zarek, it looks like a little toddler, like the little baby raid.
It is a toddler.
It's not even close. 150 is not normal either. That's like even Chambers is like so much harder than that in teams.
Yeah, I feel like that was what it was week 1. Week 1, 300 felt
they changed
expert.
A lot. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, but yeah, you're totally right. Me running a 300 now was like, bruh, this feels
I feel
so
like for
easy.
me, expert is like 400. Like that's when I'm like, okay, that's like you're close to mastering.
It would have been better if they scaled it 200's normal, 400's expert.
I feel better about that. Yeah. It's arbitrary and it doesn't mean much, but it's still like it leaves a bad taste in my mouth. I don't know what it is. It's just it feels silly.
Yeah,
I don't know.
You're right. Expert being toddler mode, basically, just simple 300.
That's a little weird.
Yeah. Yeah. So okay, I'm gonna kind of move on to the new CA systems that came out. Now you don't have to complete entire tiers. In fact, you could complete no tiers whatsoever and get a master helmet, technically.
Yep.
Do you think that's good? Are you happy with that update?
I know a lot of people that are like, that's silly. I don't really care that the Zuck helmet isn't any harder. It's the exact same. And Master Helmet was never that impressive. There was nothing for... I can't even think of an achievement for Master Helmet that was like, oh, that was kind of hard. I think now it's... Perfect Akka was kind of annoying. Like, you had to do it in a 150, so it wasn't that bad. But that was still, like, kind of hard. So I guess there was that. There was nothing on that like, docket that was like, oh, they have a Master Helmet? Oh, ooh, that's kind of crazy, you know? I wasn't getting that vibe. I don't really care.
Except now you can have fire capers with Versa.
That's really funny, and I'm excited to see it. I actually love that. That's so funny.
Is it possible? Okay, it's not actually possible to not do a fight cave or a fire. Or wait, sorry, a fight cave
no,
or an
I don't
inferno
know.
and get master, right? There's no way you can do that because like if you're carrying an
There's a
obby
lot of
cave,
fight caves, I
you've
doubt it.
actually never done a that can't be the case.
Surely not. I hope not.
However, if they come out with new grandmaster rewards, I know those scale higher. So if you just keep doing, eventually at one point in the game, I feel like there will be a sliver of time where you can actually have no fire cape or infernal cape and have a master
maybe
helmet. That'd be crazy.
I feel like it's always should have been this way. It's in like a good spot. I feel like master is like, okay, you've done like a good like chunk of PVM. Obviously, there's like the weird exceptions where people can have a fire cape and get that. But that's going to be pretty rare. That'll mean they've mastered everything except Inferno and like a couple things. Like they'll have done almost everything if that's the case.
Yeah.
And then Zuck is still like they're damn good. They've learned everything.
Yeah.
You know.
What do you think about the rewards of CAs?
I've been ribbing them for so long. That stupid expeditious bracelet reward where it's a 5% chance you keep it.
Yeah,
It's
5.
I've had it proc. I have done so much Turiel. I've had it proc one time. One time. Why? What is the point of that? It's so.
Yeah.
It doesn't improve anything. It feels like spit in the face. And the penny too. The stupid. Nobody uses that.
Yeah, I
Nobody
saw that
uses
penny.
thing.
I'm like, it's not even going to give me +2 prayer either. Like, if it gave the +2 prayer, I'd actually switch it out, you know?
It might have some use then. Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't even go in my bank. Straight to the incinerator.
I was like, what is this thing? I didn't even know what it was at first when I got it because I got.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, it's not great.
What is this penny, huh? Oh, it's useless. Okay, cool. Got it.
Almost lucky penny. Here, have this piece of shit that's in my pocket for the past like 5 years. Here, have it. What? Yeah.
It's so painful that like I know they were gonna do the NPC contact be a little faster thing like originally, and then that was like scrapped. I feel like their head is in completely the wrong. I've been saying it's a really good chance for them to fix the stupid like Turiel for Inferno. If you want to run Inferno, you have to do Turiel. Even with a perfect block list, it's like 20 to 30 minutes of Turiel before you get a task. And even if you have 3 tasks, that can go really fast. And it's really, really frustrating. You're doing like equal amounts of Turiel with Inferno, like a lot of the time. I've said, why not make it either CA reward or 6-Jad reward to talk to the guy on the throne that does 6-Jad and just have him give you a Zuck task. And to have it be no XP, just like separate, kind of like Cristelia is. Just
That'd be amazing.
Talk to him, you can get the Slayer helmet bonus, you're good. That'd be so good. And I don't think it'd be that hard for them to implement either. The CA rewards are just like, the high-level players, they do Turiel. Okay, well, we'll make that a little better. 5% chance to keep your Expeditious Bracelet. A little bit more cannonballs. It's like, okay, thank you very much. Yeah. Can you fix the problem, though? Like, can we stop, like...
What I mean,
cleaning the dirt with a brush,
like something so. This is something that's even easier. If Jagex is super insistent on keeping Turiel for whatever reason, then like one thing that could just help drastically is, okay, you've completed Grandmaster. Here's an unlock at any Slayer Master. Click it for double Zuck tasks, like just right there, double the waiting. Like just like that alone would not be game breaking at all, but at least you have to do half the amount of Turiel now, just with one simple thing.
I don't know why they're set on that. I don't know if they are. It's just like, what other game where you get to the end of the game is like, okay, now you have to do like WoW level 1 fetch quests.
Yeah,
do the high
over and over and over and over and over. Yeah,
kill dogs. It's so weird. It's so weird.
Yeah. And yeah, I would totally be okay with just a no Slayer XP, but you still get the Slayer helmet boost at the dude at 6-Jads. I think that's just a brilliant idea. Just boom, right there.
Sure. Works. And then it's not meta for like 200 mil Slayer. Fine. Works for me.
What would Inferno be like if you actually got handsomely rewarded for completing it, instead of just like a little handful of tackle and an untradeable cape?
Oh, the kiln was like that in RS3. You had the choice of the cape or the Onyx at the end. So every time you completed, you get an Onyx. It killed Onyx price. I could say that. It killed it real fast.
Yeah, that's crazy. Because I think of, for example, if Blue Inferno comes out, where let's just imagine it's way more difficult than Inferno. Who knows what it'd be? I think it's supposed to be like an unlimited wave. I thought, at least that was like kind of the rumor of it. I don't know.
They were saying 12, I
Okay.
think, and then like I think they said 8 to 12. They wanted to be harder than Inferno.
Okay. Was it like every wave you got to choose your reward and you could keep going and risk it? Was that the idea, or was that
It wasn't
something else
choose
entirely?
it. I think it was they'd show it to you and you could like cash out.
Oh.
And like take what you earned already.
Okay. I feel like that might be a little bit weird depending on how long the waves are. Just imagine like an interruption every wave. Like, hey, you want to leave now? Like, what the hell? Get away from me. Yeah.
No, I'd like to keep going, please. Thank you.
Like, is that a good thing for the game to come out with something similar to Inferno? It's a new best in slot thing, but you're actually making bank too if you get really good at it. Or is it better that it's just an untradeable thing that doesn't the whole encouragement to go there is just for speed running and flexing, similar to what Inferno is right now?
I crave that like being the only person, not just the only person, but being the only person that can like do something and making money for it is so like fun and satisfying.
Yeah.
Even if it's not like I'm the only one, but like
A handful, like people that are going to dedicate themselves.
Yeah, that would be so satisfying. If they add some rewards, I think a couple of the things are going to be untradeable, which is kind of lame. It's like, if it's going to be hard, I want stuff to be tradable and like worth grinding.
Yeah, it's tough.
You're making me think about Telos. That's what I want. I want him so bad.
So I'm unfamiliar with RS3. What was Telos?
They added God Wars Dungeon 2, so they added a new set of 4 bosses.
Okay.
And then in the center of that, once you'd killed them all, you'd get a key, same as Nex. You get a key, you can go access Telos. So Telos is like Nex for God Wars 2. The thing with him is he was solo, and he had an enrage mechanic. I'm not sure if he was the first. They do this a lot with bosses now. But he would get harder each time you killed him, and then he'd give you more loot. And that would scale up to 5,000% harder.
Jesus.
It's not that many people who were even able to do that. It took, I want to say, a year for someone to get the first one.
Holy.
So
a year.
Yes, a full year. It was
holy
like,
shit.
People had been working up to it, and it was always like, "Ooh, he's getting close. He's at 4,200%. Okay." You know what I'm saying? But
that is exciting, dude.
And then it's still like you can kill Telos easily, like on even like a mid-level account, like at 100%. But it has this mechanic as well where every time you kill him, it goes in a chest, and then you can see what's in the chest, what you've earned. And then if you want, you can leave it in the chest and then do the next kill. You risk a portion of it, and then it takes that loot and his enrage and together, and it does a multiplier on your loot, and you get more. So they do that. What's come out as meta is they do 200 kill streaks, because that's the maximum amount you can hold in the chest. People do 200 kills in a row. He gets harder every single kill, and they hit 5,000% eventually. Like, I think it's 100 kills in. So they just like kill him 200 times in a row, and each time it's like, oh, I just got a super rare scythe in there, or that's worth like a bill. Okay, I hope I don't die. It's so fun. It's so fun.
Would that work?
But it's worth it because it scales to like I want to say it starts at like 1 in 200 for the super rares, and then like once you're at that like 100 kill, you hit the cap, and it's like 1 in 15. Like you're getting a scythe every like 15 kills if you manage to do it.
Are you just perma camped at 5,000 at that point?
Yeah, you're just locked in at the hardest difficulty for a while.
So it took a year for somebody to first do it, and now people send 100 of them in a row.
Yep. Somebody, I think Evil Lucario was the first to do a 200 kill streak. You can choose once you've unlocked like an enrage, like to start at that level at the beginning. I think he was the first to do the whole thing at max enrage.
Sheesh. How much money did he make from that one?
Good. He has a video about it. It's so interesting how much money he made. It was at the time, this was years ago. RS3 GP was like not worth nothing like it is now. It was I think 1 to 5 or 1 to 4 swap ratio. And it was 250 mil GP an hour to do that.
Oh my god.
That sounds ludicrous, but if you like calc it for swap rates to OSRS, that's 50 mil GP an hour. Like,
sheesh.
Nothing in OSRS comes close. And it's kind of disappointing because like our best GP an hour is Nex, like just because people don't want to do it. But in that game, Telos is like nobody could do it.
That's
and
crazy.
the people who could just made boatloads.
So what exactly makes it harder? Is it just that everything can one-shot you, or is there just crazy shit going on? Like
Crazy shit going on. Everything hits really hard. At some point early on, it adds an extra phase at the end, which is really cool. He has like a full like he's like a giant compared to you, but at the end he like drops in this pool and he just grows to this like massive behemoth that you like fight at the end. And that's only at a certain enrage that happens. So that's neat. There's just a lot of like you need to be perfect doing everything, or he will like. They have so many sustain things and things like that, so it's just like he will out like damage you if you don't do things perfectly.
Okay. Now, Evil Lucario, what would you place him if we were to compare him?
Oh, he's Wooks.
Okay, so he's like the Wooks of
100%. Yeah, he does all the like challenges. Like he'll solo things first. That's his deal. He's done 5,000 Enraged Telos with a Guitar Hero controller. I think I love it.
What?
That's him.
Oh my god. but he still like actively plays. Is that the case? Because I feel like
he's actually been burning out lately. I do follow him.
Okay. So he really is like following Wooks. I mean, just
it's the exact same. Yeah, I didn't even think of that. yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I think of like Wooks, and like obviously when you hear of Wooks, like just GOAT, But to be completely rational, like he doesn't play as much anymore, and so he's not like at his prime anymore, if you know what I mean. Like
for sure, I think the thing about Wooks is that he can lab things and figure out how to do them so easily, like with very little effort.
Mm-hmm.
So I think no matter what, he's always going to have that. If he ever comes back and wants to take on something, he'll destroy, like no matter what. He might not. If he's like, oh, I want to speedrun CMs, I don't think he'd ever do something like that. If he's like, I want to speedrun CMs, I don't think he'd be the best. But
yeah, it's just like that pioneering. It's like the Giga Brain, basically, of like, okay, let's solve this and let's do it.
He'll just figure things out. He'll go, oh, that makes sense, and then he'll just do it.
Dude, I remember when TOB first came out and like Wooks was trying to do those solos, and I'm like, what the hell? Like how are you pioneering this? Like it's just.
I didn't even know how to ticket at the time. I didn't know what a ticket was. And he's just like ticketing everything. It was like my eyes were sparkling. I'm like, how?
Yeah, that is just unbelievable. And I still like, so I actually met a cold one last week, which is just awesome to meet him in person. But like just knowing, because I remember thinking like, it's just so crazy how the evolution of his game happens. Like TOB comes out, nobody can even do it. Then a 5-man main team can finally do it. And then like Wooks solos it. And then a cold one solos it on an Iron Man. And then he solos it on a fucking hardcore. Like something where you thought a hardcore even entering in a normal 5-man being carried was insane. Like you're suicidal, basically. Like what are you doing in TOB, And now
I gained so much more respect for him after I did my first solo TOB. Like I died so many times at Nyla's room, and it feels so random. It has to not be. There has to be like efficient ways to path, but sometimes they just blow up on you, like you die.
Yeah, that was a crazy feat. I mean, just
actually wild.
Insane. Yeah. Okay, so Evil Lucario, would you say he's the best player currently in RS3 when it comes to PVM?
I don't know RS3 PVM super well, but I know he's like regarded as like the best player. He's like equal to Wooks in every way. Like everybody just is like, oh yeah, he's a machine. He knows everything.
Okay.
He's world first on so many things.
That's just so cool to like be that guy, just like I will.
Oh, I can't imagine.
Yeah.
That'd be so sick.
So we've seen. I mean, this still. It's insane to think 5 years ago, 2018, the skill level of the average player base, like the player base average, I guess, compared to now, it's wildly different.
It's ridiculous. Yep. I really noticed that with Inferno speeds, like.
Oh my god!
Everybody just brings no brew now. It's fine. Yeah, you just don't bring brew. That's okay. It's so crazy. Like that would never even. It was not too long ago. They were like labbing thralls. Like, oh, is it possible to do it with thralls? Do you have enough health? Oh. And now it's like, hell yeah, you do. If you don't use that, you're trolling.
Dude, there is nothing better than waking up in the morning and like just watching Scotty just dominate the Inferno.
Just decimate.
And just like, okay, he's at wave 64. He's got one more shield of prayer, like one more shield proc of prayer.
Yep.
You would see that like 4 years ago of somebody with no supplies entering, Jad, like single Jad into triple Jad into Zuck. You'd be like, okay, like this run's over. Like it's over.
He's
like
dead.
just quit,
No, he's got way more than he needs going into Jed with that one shield. Way more.
I know, it's ridiculous. I just remember like seeing the first time. I'm like, okay, you're literally entering Zuck with 40 prayer, 60 HP, no supplies whatsoever, and you're gonna get this somehow, and you're gonna do like a whole Jad skip and all this other shit. Like, what is happening right now? Like, it is so insane, the evolution of Inferno and just the evolution of the player base in general. And like you said, I mean, it's now if you bring a brew into Inferno as a speedrunner, you're just looked down upon. You're like, what are you doing?
Oh, you bring brews? Okay. You'll get there one day. You'll get there one day.
Exactly.
I had such a good run on my last PB. Like for me, I got a sub 44.
Oh, that is so fucking fast, dude.
I go to submit it, and I'm ranked 21. I'm like,
oh my god!
Is that
21 like out of attempts or players?
Out of players.
Oh
so,
my
like,
god!
Out of runs, I think
Nuts.
it's like probably near 100.
Sub 44 used to be seen as just impossible. I mean, I obviously we've had new gear upgrades and new tech, but like, bruh, that is nuts that you're just barely top page. I mean, if it's out of 25, like
I think Addy said that sub 47 or something to that effect is the same as sub 50 was. It's like, yep, pretty much. Yeah, it's just things have changed. Obviously, the gear's better, but the players are better, like dramatically better.
Okay, so what is the current world record of Inferno?
40, I don't remember exactly. High 41. I can't remember the exact seconds. I should.
It's like 4150-ish though, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I can definitely see by the end of the summer, even with, well, I know there's going to be new upgrades. I don't know if any of because currently if the Ruinous Powers comes out, nobody's going to be using Ruinous Powers in Inferno. Is that right? Because of triple Jads?
I don't think they're going to keep the chip damage. I'm banking on them not doing that. And if they don't do that, it's going to be completely changed.
Okay.
Yeah, with chip damage, I tried to do Inferno. It's not. I don't think you need.
Ass.
I guesstimated you need about 3 more restore than you need currently. So you need about like 10 to 11 with shield. You'd need like 14 to 15, and then you'd also need 3 or 4 brews to survive triples.
Yeah.
So you're talking 7 lost slots. There's no way it's worth it. Even with how good the offensive prayers are, it wouldn't be worth it.
Ugh. Yeah, okay, so let's just ignore... Okay, so I'm just going to imagine ignoring the whole prayer book. I don't think any new upgrades are coming out that's going to surpass the Light Bearer, right? That new range ring isn't going to replace the Light Bearer.
I doubt it. It's not that good.
It gives you like a couple max hits, I think, with like a T-bow, maybe, right? With the new...
I think it's a singular max hit, maybe.
Oh, okay.
T-bow's kind of weird. It like every once in a while gives you a few.
Yeah, it's like 0 or it's like 4. It's like here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I've been the only one like running Venator bow. I still think that has like a lot of potential. I expect somebody's gonna figure it out who's better than I am, and it's gonna take off. Genuinely.
Yeah, I usually watch Scotty when it comes to Inferno. He obviously doesn't like it, but I think it's really just getting used to it. You have to set up things with a purpose.
I don't think he wants to pioneer anything, and that's very understandable. Like he doesn't need to do anything like that to push his time even further.
Yeah,
like he's already like destroying, so it would take like a long time to. It maxes 96 if used like to full effect, and it's 4 tick. It's like stronger than a T-bow for that shot, and then it's a tick faster. That's so good.
Damn. Yeah.
But it's so awkward, and there's so many weird little like things. It's very hard to use.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, there's here. Well, I want to kind of drift into this other topic, which is the scythe in general, because whenever I think of the Venator bow, I think of the same kind of mechanics that the scythe has, where like it's targeting the northeast, the second most northeast thing of even numbered target. Like what is going on? First of all, I gotta say, I am so sad and so disappointed that the Scythe to this day cannot just hold on to one target. For example, if I'm killing Thermi with a Scythe, for some reason that third swipe is going to hit like a miniature
Yeah,
smoke
I mean,
devil.
it's kind of cool that it can do that in a couple cases, but I don't know. It definitely should have like a mode on it or something. I feel like to prevent
Where
that.
is it cool that happens? If you are targeting a thing that can take 3 swings, where would it ever be appropriate for one of those swings to go to something that's you're not even
Example is
targeting?
an Inferno. I'll like maybe I've got just a melee and 1 bloblet left, and I'm chinning like both of them,
Oh,
and I get a big XP drop. I'm switching to Scythe, like getting ready to swing at the melee, but they're both alive. Like Bloblet has 1 health, the melee has like 5 health, and then you can click the Bloblet, kills the Bloblet and the melee. It's kind of fun.
okay, that is so niche. But okay, I can now. I'm glad
It's
something.
very limited. There's not a ton of there's a couple like Slayer mobs you can Scythe to, like multiple targets, like Blood Belts. It's really good on like having multiple on top of each other, but usually you don't care about that at all.
You've got a point. There would be situations just like in normal Slayer and stuff where like you don't want all 3 of your swipes or even 2 of them to go to just 1 because it's close to being dead.
Yeah,
You're right.
yep.
But oh my god, that Thermi thing.
That is
just,
frustrating.
If there was
it's
just a
KQ as
mode.
well. I remember you don't use Scythe anymore at KQ, but when you did, it was so annoying. Those little cow fights would go under her, and then they get stuck, and you're like, "Can I move her? Nope. I'm just losing a full splat every time." Great, perfect.
Yep. Okay, so there's been a lot of rumors talking about Scythe and having an unlimited corrupted Scythe.
Oh yeah, I forgot they
Thoughts?
talked about that. Yeah.
Thoughts on that?
That sounds great. It would have to have a really high like rune cost, probably like Bofa, where it's like not even worth it, necessarily, like for money.
What would that be, do you think? What would the cost be? What would be appropriate?
Probably like 1 million blood runes,
Okay.
like between 500,000 and 1 million, I would guess, and then like a big chunk of blood vials. Just whatever it is that like you're not gonna pay that off like for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
At least then it's like for Iron Man, it's something to like grind towards and be done with instead of like a thing they constantly have to upkeep. And for mains, it's nice as well. I hate charging things. I hate being in a piece of content and shit, my Scythe uncharged. It's so unsatisfying. I'd be willing to pay so much just to not have that. I don't care about the cost of it.
Yeah, I think the biggest, I'm going to share my little ramble on this because is I totally agree with the annoyance of keeping things charged. I'm actually a huge fan of charged weapons, but they need to do it in a way where like everything's just 100,000 charges, similar to like the Ring of Suffering.
Scythe's not so bad because it has so many charges, but there's a couple things that are you can run out pretty fast.
I mean, even Scythe being only 20k, like I really feel like everything could just be 100k. Like
100%.
Just do it. I mean, and the other problem with a Scythe in particular is that for some reason there's like a well you need to go to, and there's 2 ingredients of vials of blood and blood runes, and the ratios are so weird, and it's like you really made this just overly complicated and just kind of annoying. I would really be a fan if the Scythe just took blood runes at this point. Like that's my If
honestly.
it was just 100,000, the Scythe can be charged with 100,000 charges. So 300,000 blood runes. Boom, shoved it in there. You're good to go. The problem is with an unlimited Scythe is that it's going to make it so every weapon it becomes
Sets a precedent.
Yeah, it's like, okay, now your mace, where you used to choose to use your mace at Fasani's, for example, to save on blood runes, now it's just going to always be Scythe. Where, like, maybe that's fine, but, like, you've completely just eliminated this weapon entirely. I like the idea of having a cost to a weapon, because in that way, you can come out with insanely powerful items in the future that have a heavy cost to it, but it's like, okay, that is literally the cost of it. It's like, do you want to do massive damage? You're not going to be making money. You're probably going to be losing money, but you're going to have a fun fucking time.
Yeah, I like that. See, with Telos, like, Evil Lucario in his video, he explains the supply cost of it. He was spending 50 mil an hour to do it. He was using their equivalent of Zenite bolts to, like, make it possible. And those cost, like, something stupid, like between 50 and 100k each. And it was just worth it because you make so much money anyways. I do like that. I like the, like, the supply cost doesn't matter. If you're good enough at a piece of content, like you're still going to use like the ridiculously expensive stuff. I do enjoy that.
What do
I don't know.
Zenyte bolts do in RS3?
They have adrenaline. It effectively gives you special attack energy when it procs.
Oh, that is sick.
It's really strong, really, really good.
Why aren't there Zenyte bolts in the? Okay, actually, how would they even? How would they use Zenyte? Those would be. How much is a Zenyte? Like 13 mil or something? Like I know they're pretty expensive still, right?
The thing they do in that game is they've just added the bolt tips to a lot of drops instead of like the full. Like, gem.
Yeah, that's what they've done with Onyx bolt tips. Because I was just thinking, like, if you really just chop it, isn't like cutting an Onyx into bolt tips like 10?
Yeah, like 15 or something. Yeah,
just
something
ridiculous,
like that.
Yeah, that would be cool
It is-
to see Zenyte.
It is
bolt
so
tips.
fun. Like, just like something is so rewarding. You're like, I don't care what the cost is. I'm going to use the best stuff, and I'm going to do this as well as possible, and it's going to be worth it because I'm one of the few people that can do it, and it's worth spending all this money on it. And I've earned all this money to keep doing it. That is fun for sure.
See, that really is the fun. I mean, that's what I grinded Nightmare for like 9 months straight, and I just used the scythe the entire time. And I knew it was like the most spendy thing ever for the time period and being on an Iron Man. It just felt like this is so wasteful. But I enjoyed it because you're doing max damage. I was using a harm and a scythe like with full Inquisitors. I'm like, this is just great.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes it's fun. It's fun to splurge in those ways. So I don't want to get rid of charged weapons. I think charged armor is annoying. I think degradable stuff's annoying. I think things that just eventually break is annoying. But just having a weapon that's charged and it's convenient as possible, 100,000 charges, one item that can be charged wherever you are in the world. I think that's like the most optimal.
RS3 has a bunch of stuff that degrades, but what they did is when they added invention, you augment to everything, and then instead of using the charges they normally do, they run off energy in your backpack that you power with. You get this energy that you charge things with, but like everything you have runs off that. So it's like charging your weapons is just putting energy in your backpack. That's
that would be so good. Like a little sack or something where it's like just shove your energy. Oh,
they could maybe do something like that. There's some things like Blood Fury where like that would be a problem, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's an option in the future. I don't know.
Thoughts on Blood Fury?
I don't like it.
It's pretty game changing. Pretty game changing.
The big issue is Torva because you don't lose that. You only lose the one max hit. That's not a big deal.
Yeah.
I think before Torva, I don't like sustain stuff in general in this game. I don't know what it is. I don't like randomly just getting some health. Saying doesn't feel good to use. Blood Fury doesn't feel good to use. It's like you expect it to give you health. When it gives you a bunch of health, you're just at 99 anyway. Like, who cares?
Yep,
and then
every time.
When you're low health, you're like really desperate on Ulm, like saying, please heal me. It never does. Never, ever.
Yeah.
It's not fun.
Yeah, but so many metas have been changed around it. I mean, people can solo Tob now much easier with a Blood Fury.
Yep.
And Inferno
I don't like the meta. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Sorry. I was just gonna say Inferno as well. Like Blood Fury's part of that meta now.
I hate that in Inferno. I don't like the meta of hoping it heals you. That's you don't bring a brew now. You just I hope the scythe heals me. I hope my pipe specs go off. Like there's a lot, just so much random. Like I just hope I get enough healing because that's a waste of space to bring a brew.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't mind sustain stuff if there's like something to it. I don't know. Addy suggested for that Cruor prayer that thing heals you like nothing. It's like 1 for every 100 damage you deal. I think he suggested like it heal you on kill. I wouldn't mind something like that. Like something where it's like tactical and like there's some way to get health back, but it's not like random.
Yeah, that would be cool actually. If on kill you get the heal or whatever.
It it could be a skilled thing you have to. I don't know if I'm not a designer, but you know, something that's like your input makes it happen, and then it's not random. Ancient Godsword kind of, it's not good, but that like when you hit with it, it's going to give you 25 health. That's kind of cool.
You're right. That is a good feeling. It's more satisfying. Yeah, you're right. And it feels like just going back to Inferno. I mean, when you get to those later waves, I mean, you're just chancing yourself. And you're just, like you said,
every wave.
Hopefully we're good. Like, hopefully this Ranger doesn't hit a 40 because, I mean, that's really what you're relying on is just luck by the end. Like, okay,
big reason Scotty isn't doing Veneer Bow is to keep that Torva chest plate, because you can start waves in it, and it's like much lower chance they're gonna hit you hard because it just kills your run. If you take like a 40 off spawn, you're just crippled. Run's dead.
Yep. Yeah, I was even just thinking on just in my head over these past like few minutes, just, like what if there was a prayer that protects against everything, but by clicking it, every tick that goes by is like drain, I don't know, 10 prayer, and just by activating it, drains like maybe not 10 prayer, but like something where like at the start of the wave you can just guarantee that you're not just gonna get double rangered, boom, dead. Like, but you know, you have, I don't know, I'm just like thinking out loud.
Yeah,
right now.
there's a lot of cool ideas for sure.
Like
that would have, I don't know how you'd balance that, but that would be neat,
because that would be pretty OP, and especially in PvP situation. Like, here, let me just turn on this and just flex everything here. Yeah, it's tough. I guess Inferno's kind of just like that. Like, yeah, you can just get messed up some waves.
Yeah, Inferno's like that. A lot of things are like that. CMs are like that too at the end. Like Monodile, it's just like you can just die. It happens.
Yeah, CMs seem to be probably the most tilting piece of content to speedrun. I don't even speedrun them, but just watching, those seem very tilting.
There's so much RNG. There's so many reset points. Yeah, it's brutal. I was roughly guesstimating. They have like the floor like records, like floor 1 record, floor 2. We were looking at that and like adding them together, and it's like 2 or 3 minutes faster than current record. There's just so much RNG.
Sheesh.
Like if somebody had like a crazy god run with like near record every room, it would just be minutes faster. But it doesn't happen because it's so rare.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah, I mean, because just even just the simple fact of just time passing, your RNG is going to start averaging out. Just that
you're never going to hit every single hammer in every room. You're going to have a bad room. It will happen. Doesn't matter how fast it is.
Oh man. Yeah, that's kind of like, I feel like that's almost like more fun for the people getting into them because they realize the potential of time that you actually could save.
You could get crazy lucky and just cough. Yeah, it could happen. Yeah.
Is that part of the fun of speedrunning? Let me just ask you. Is that fun, knowing that you could just have a really awesome run that's just like, oh yeah, this feels good?
The like stress of knowing you are on pace is so like fun to me. That's one of my favorite things. I remember the first time I did sub 50 Inferno. I used to run like heart rate monitor on stream. Yeah. I was out of food doing Mage Shad healer skip. Zuck, I want to say, had like 100 health, and I had like 50 health quickly ticking down. I went to like, I'm shooting him. He's getting lower. I'm down to like 10 health. I proc a redemption out of desperation to like just go a little further and get one more shot off. My heart rate hit 186 BPM.
Dear God, 186.
It was that's probably the fastest my heart's ever beaten, I would guess.
Holy crap.
Actually crazy. It's so fun though. I love that. That is my favorite thing.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't want to lose that either. If that's I like just seeing what the fun is in speedrunning, and just eliminating the RNG factor would probably eliminate
they're like
a lot
struggling until you get something good going.
Yeah,
and then it adds some stress, some pressure. It's fun. It's satisfying.
Yeah, that's cool. I love how Ulm is the way it is. Like just the whole Ulm fight and how it was pretty much an accident.
It's so cool though. I really like Ulm.
It's cool. And it's also awesome to see, you know, with new weapons coming out. I was really hoping they would come out with a 2-tick Heka initially. But I'm pretty happy that they actually came out with the Shadow, just knowing it kind of falls in line with the 5-tick T-Bow, 5-tick Scythe, 5-tick Mage Weapon now.
Yeah, I was really against Heka. I thought I didn't mind it being like a fast like Mage Weapon, but I just felt like it was super overcomplicated and not that good. Like it needed to be more powerful.
Totally right. They started really overcomplicating it too with like the different spellbook effects.
There was like 4 paragraphs to figure out what it did.
It was so
Shadow
confusing.
It multiplies your gear by 3. Okay, got it. It's strong. Big strong Mage Weapon. Cool.
Yeah, that was definitely the way to go. That honestly, that's kind of how Ruinous Powers feels to me. is it just feels like there's
It's
so much
overcomplicated.
coming out. So like, I try to be open-minded. My initial thought, I can't like lie and just say, oh, I'm totally cool with it. Like, I do feel like it might be a little bit game breaking, but I think the biggest reason I feel that way is just because of the unfamiliarity of it, and just it's just a lot. It's just like boom, it's coming in. Like, this is
I'm a little more
crazy.
open to it because I'm coming from RS3. Like I know
Yeah.
like things they've done. I don't like the prayer book in that game either. I don't like that it's just straight better in every way. That's really I've seen people suggest that they do that. I don't want them to do that at all. I do not want just oh yeah, it's always better. You unlock it from doing a hard quest. Cool. No, please don't. I want something interesting. I want some choices going on. I want something to it. I want meat to it.
Yeah. Okay. Sailing is most likely coming out. We'll see. You know, it still has a big chance of failing. But yeah, what are your thoughts on sailing as a new skill?
That was I voted no to all of them. And I voted sailing as my favorite. It has potential. There's things that turn me off to it. They described cargo missions and treasure hunting like in the boat. And when they're talking about sailing, I can't help but think about like Zelda Wind Waker. And it's like it's not really the like stuff you do in the ocean in that game that's like super fun. It's the like going to islands and then doing stuff there, like finding a dungeon on an island or something like that. I don't really care about like maintaining a ship or doing mini games like I really what I want from sailing is for it to be dungeoneering too. I want it to be like ocean themed dungeoneering. I want to go to this island, you go there. There's no boat. You just load there and then like you do stuff there. You clear it out. Maybe there's like a cave. Maybe there's some more difficult like islands you unlock later with higher levels that with like bosses inside and that kind of thing. You know, that kind of thing.
Yep. Yeah, I'm very interested in what they're actually gonna kind of tease and come out with, because it really
it's so vague, so I've got no
so
clue. I'm
vague.
hoping that
It's so vague, but it seems like they really want the traveling part of it to be like core, which I kind of worry
Yeah.
about.
it just doesn't sound fun to me. I don't know.
Yeah, it's really tough because everyone has their own ideas in their mind too. Because I'm just thinking like everybody's idea of sailing is slightly different in their head. Like,
Everybody thinks it's gonna be like the Bon Voyage like mini game for that. I don't think it's gonna be like that, but I don't know. I can't picture that being like the fun and engaging part of that.
it
I don't
won't
know.
be. You're right.
I don't think so.
It's going to be tough to see kind of what happens. I'm excited because, like you said, I feel like inevitably there will be like that dungeoneering aspect of like you going. Who knows? Maybe like initially you have like the option of sailing the seas, but eventually there'll just be like a quick pass. Just like, okay, just get on with it. Just get me to the island already. Just quick travel. Just boom, there. Travel.
I was really
explore.
disappointed they didn't consider invention. I had Aiza pop in my chat after that blog went up, and I was talking about like, oh man, shamanism. I'm like, this is invention without the good parts. And he mentioned in my chat that they didn't consider that because it was a buyable, and I'm like, it's not even. I'll explain what invention is really quick. It's my favorite thing they've added to ours. I don't like any of the skills they've added. I haven't messed with archaeology. That was after I quit. But invention was their first like elite skill, it's called. It required 80, like I think it's crafting, smithing, construction. Like you had all those at 80 to even start leveling it. And then it had its like own level progression. And the way it worked is it now allowed you to break down every single item in the game. And there'd be unique components from rarer items, and then like different components from common ones. Maybe arrows give you like pointy component. I don't remember the names, but stuff like that. And then like you could have like Bando's components, Zami components. Scythe would give you a component that's unique, that kind of thing. And then you take those to a workbench and you add them to a perk shell, and each of those components gives you a different like perk. There's like 100 different perks. There's one that's like do 5% more damage to dragons. There's one that increases your minimum hit and lowers your maximum hit, like that kind of thing. And then you take these components, you stuff them in, then you augment your gear and you put them in, and then you now power your gear with energy. So what it ended up doing is as soon as it came out, everything had value. Everything. I remember magic short bows shot up like 5 times in value. Like fletching suddenly became really profitable. All of the stuff that was worthless, like God Wars in that game, like God Wars 1 is just like low level content like Barras. Like it's nothing. Suddenly it was worth doing it again. Like now Bandos had some value. It had unique perks tied to it that was good in PVM. It made clue scrolls valuable. Everything from a clue scroll is worth a mil. Like a black crossbow is worth a mil. Like if you get one of those.
So okay, so after you've made your augmented armor, is that stuff tradable anymore, or is that just
it becomes untradeable once it's augmented? But you can pull it off if you want. It's kind of like a charged scythe versus uncharged scythe, kind of like that.
It seems so complicated, but you're saying it was like one of the best updates in your opinion?
It's very complicated, but it needed to be. Like it saved the economy. They had so many things worth nothing. I want to say whip was like 40K. They had so many things that were honestly we're approaching that at this point. Like, there's a lot of whip is almost nothing.
Yep.
It saved the price of like everything. It made like a bunch of different pieces of content worth doing all of a sudden. And then it made it like the rich players suddenly had something to like go for. There's very efficient like perk layouts and that require like ridiculous things that you'd have to break down. Like they have a scythe in that game. Like that's a thing you'd have to break down. Probably a few of them. To get the like absolute like min-maxed perfect perks. There's so many like there's so many mains at this point that like have so much money they don't know what to do with it. I think I'm in that boat now where it's like I have money later. I'd love to like pump it somewhere. I'd love to do something with it. It would be fun if you give like people in that boat like a place to like dump money. It just adds money makers everywhere. It's so good.
Yeah. See, that's also just I would honestly have to like watch a video on invention because that sounds so complex. And
it's very complex.
I could definitely see it coming into old school, like as a new skill, the next skill. Like if sailing comes out, like I could see that being like the next turn. Because at that point, there really will be just like 100,000 max players and just everyone's. Yeah, just
in my opinion, new skills got to do something. It's got to change the game somehow. Do something to make it fresh. Sailing could do that for sure. I could see it.
But you're right about like just being so wealthy that you want to just spend it on something that's going to be useful. I mean, those Zenite bolts. I mean, shit, man. You get
just stock up on those. Yeah. Like, oh man, like something like that. That'd be fun.
Absolutely.
RS3 added divination as well, which is literally just it's AFK. It's fishing too. There's these like rifts around the world with little like orbs floating around them. You walk up to an orb, you click it, and you sit there until your inventory fills up with orbs. And then you go dump the orbs in the rift. And that's the gameplay loop. And they suggested with shamanism that it would be like AFK gathering like that. I was like, no. Please, no. Please make it interesting and fun to train. If it's not fun to train, it'd be so bad. If it's sit there and chop logs, I don't know. That can be an option. I don't care, but that shouldn't be like the main way you do it, I don't feel like.
It's so tough because like you and like the super high level people are such a niche. When they are making updates, like they're catering to every single person, like every person that just plays for like 30 minutes a week, just it's I
just want actively training it to be fun. Like
you're right.
I feel like agility is one of my favorite skills because of Sepulcher. I really, really enjoy it. There's like stuff to learn and improve on. Dungeoneering kind of had that too, where it's like you can get really good at it really fast, learn the layouts, efficiently dropping teleports around that's so fun. Like mastering, like a skill doesn't have to be just chop logs. It can be fun.
Yeah, no, you're right. Sepulcher nailed it, dude. I want a floor 6 already. I want something that's gonna just kick
floor
my
6,
ass.
yes,
yeah.
Please. When?
Like I even want something that's not Sepulcher, but something that's movement based that isn't even for XP, but it's for rewards. Like something like I've always teased this idea of like so do you remember the cartoon Aladdin where like he goes
Yeah.
into the Cave of Wonders and he's like, dude.
Oh, yeah.
Imagine there's like a desert thing where you enter in there and it's literally go down in this Cave of Wonders. Craziest. It's basically floor 6 from the get-go. Just go retrieve a lamp. You can loot as many urns as you want and they're actually valuable. Like this wouldn't be for XP necessarily. You get a little bit of XP, but the main enjoyment from this is literally just to make money and to get some new uniques potentially. You go get the lamp, and then as soon as you get the lamp, the place starts crumbling down.
It's just hell.
Yeah, and you have to
That'd be
make
fun.
it out, and then, your lamp gives you XP or whatever, and you get...
It's crumbling. The
rewards.
traps are like heavily increased, or like, yeah,
Dude,
that would be really fun.
I love movement in this game. It's so addicting. Like, Sepulchre is so fun. It's just... I even think Sepulchre, and because I'm an Iron Man and I loot, I want to get the clue scrolls now. The looting feels so boring. It's like, oh my god, like you're just slowing the pace down. They got to come out with something that's
slowly
just,
grapple.
Yeah,
cross,
they need the
slowly
fast
open chest.
pacedness. They just fast. Oh, and the worst part is being 99 thieving and failing the chest twice, like just
Multiple
you poison
times. Yep.
that. Dude.
Like, how can I fail? Come on.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm gonna go to the Twitter topics because we have there's definitely been some we've covered, but Ben / Elvin asks, where would you like to see PVM go next, mechanic wise? I'm actually just gonna read all these and then we can kind of discuss them. Have we reached the difficulty cap in terms of mechanics from NPCs with the tick system we have? And is there any mechanics you'd like to see from future PVM?
Okay. Give me that first one again.
Where would you like to see PVM go next, mechanic-wise? I'm going to link you this.
I think the most unexplored is risk. And like I was talking about with Telos, that adds like so much risk and like stress of like not wanting to mess up because you lose something important. There is no risk in this game currently. There is, if you die in Toa, you lose 500k. And you're like, oh no, not 500k. That probably matters on like Iron Men, but like it doesn't feel like stressful. It doesn't add anything. It's not like, oh, I don't want to die because I'll lose 500k. It's like, oh, I gotta pay 500k. Okay. Like DKs, I guess, dying there. It's like, oh no, I gotta run back. But there's nothing that's like, if I die here, there are consequences. There are major consequences.
Yeah.
I have to be very careful. That's not a thing.
So So basically introduce what Telos has. That whole risk.
It doesn't have to be Telos exactly, but that loot system would be really, really fun.
Yeah, that would be fun. Just, I mean, even for like a content, like watching this as a viewer, watching somebody, okay, you are risking literal bank right now in a PVM encounter. Like you're...
Oh man, I would throw up a screenshot of my current loot. That'd be fun.
Yeah, that would be so... Like that's like a win-win for everybody. Like that just sounds so addicting.
100%.
Okay.
I think that's like
that.
probably the biggest unexplored thing. And then there's a lot of things that feel like they could be fleshed out further that haven't been explored. Things like movement, like you were talking about, doesn't get used a ton in PVM. There's a lot of things they can do for sure, no question.
Yeah, there's got to be a line of like too many mechanics where it's not even fun anymore. Where like you literally have to click like 4 different spots in a tick just to like be perfect.
Yep. I love what they did with Muspa with the smite flicking. That was like fresh.
It's so little things like that where this isn't even difficult, but it's just, it gets you into the flow. Like, okay, like, I don't know. There's something just really addicting about that kind of flicking on for one tick, flicking off. I got so addicted to melee flicking at Bandos and Zami.
Yeah.
It makes me so sad that that's just like not worth doing. It's literally just worth T-bowing and being brain dead. Just brain.
I
off,
haven't done that,
basically.
but I loved watching Bodhi do it. I remember when I was like lower level, I was like, that's the craziest thing I've ever seen. He's like flicking shields on in between. It's like,
Dude,
oh man,
that kind of stuff. If they were to introduce something like that, where like it's a melee only recreation of God Wars Bandos, where you cannot go in with a mage weapon or a range weapon, you have to literally do the classic mechanics and.
Keeping things in cycle is not really
it's
done
so
anywhere.
addicting. I know it is so addicting because like you go in there and that's like not like your intuition is not like, oh, let's figure out these 4 different bosses that are attacking me on different ticks. It's literally just like the Mr. Mammal style of hit twice, walk under, hit twice, walk under. But as soon as you start applying these mechanics, it becomes like one of the most addicting things ever. Also, Saradomin killing Zilliana and then blow piping the minions where you're on a 2-tick rigor off and on, and you have 3 minions attacking every 5 ticks. Dude, that whole prayer pattern is, first of all, it's insanely confusing initially. You're like, what the hell is going on? I remember watching Latius doing it, and I'm like, what is going on here? But as soon as you get it, dude, the rhythm and the flow is just
Isn't it funny how something as simple as like some weird ticks you're not used to is like fresh?
Oh, it's so good, man. It's so good. I just wish the minions had more HP so I could do it for longer. That's the biggest. When you just hit them in like 4 hits, they're dead. You're like, the most.
You're like, I wish this was Zilliana. The running around the room crap is boring.
Dude, exactly. All right. Is there any unique mechanics you'd like to see from future PVM?
Oh, unique mechanics. Let me think.
Anything that you thought would just be like, this would be cool.
I'm trying to think like. I'm thinking of like RS3, but they have so many like abilities and like it's so different that like there's nothing you could really grab from there. I feel like in our system. The big thing is the flicking the overhead is really fun with the new prayers. I want to see that somewhere.
Yeah.
Trying to anything else major? I don't know. Things with like swapping prayers on like during safe ticks is just very fun. I don't know.
Yeah, I think there's. I think I'm gonna sort of go down the road you're going. It's just like the rhythm with the prayer book can be so addicting, and I was just yeah. I'm not gonna lie. I think what would be this honestly sounds like something like way in the future. But imagine being able to like create your own boss room, where like I'm just thinking of it like if I could just have like a little POH layout thing, but like place monsters. Like, okay, I want this monster to be here. This one attacks every 5 ticks. This one spawns here. This one attacks everything. And so you could almost just like create a scenario where you're on like this perfect like prayer flicking pattern and just get really used to it and just have these things with like unlimited HP. And you just go into a room and like design it yourself and just get really good. I don't know, that just sounds like out of control. Like that does not sound like it would ever come into the game, but just, oh my God, imagine like being able to like design your own God Wars, just like, oh.
The problem with customization stuff is that we always just like min-max it and find the meta.
Yeah,
totally. I'd love some like weird cycles that you do. It's so, everything is like 5 tick or 4 tick all the time. Everything. Like you get so used to that. And when something's like a little different, it's like, whoa. Yeah,
I remember Verzek being 7 tick.
That was really hard for me.
Oh, it was really tough initially. And then you get used to it, and it's like, oh, okay, this isn't that bad. You feel it.
Same as everything else. It's just a little delay. Okay, I got it.
Okay, 30s asks, favorite cosmetic, if he likes cosmetics, which ones would he like to be seen in-game, like more Ancestral kits, Bandos kits, Arma kits, stuff like that. Cosmetics are cool because 0 power creep, in my opinion.
The blood Torva that has to get put in. That is so sick. That is like the coolest. I love the edginess. I love everything. I know a lot of people aren't like into that like vibe, but I think it's perfect for Torva. That's so good.
100%.
I've also mentioned I think they should add a lunar shadow. It's got the like solar eclipse thing going. If they added like a blue version with like a full moon, the top bit as like maybe a 600 reward or something like that, that would be really really cool. I would love that.
Dude, have you seen the what is it, like the Masori kit with the Pegasian boots?
Oh yeah, they added the one that matches Torva as well. Those same people. That
Wait, what?
Really, really good.
I want to see that. Do you have a link of that? Wait, like it's like wait,
I can maybe dig it.
Wait, are they an attachment to Prims?
Yeah, so for Prims and for Pegs, they made like different like.
See,
models.
I saw the ones that are like the Twisted kit with Twisted Ancestral. So they also have the Mage Boot version then, because I've seen both of those.
It's like black and then like a little like slight red highlight at the
bottom. Oh, okay. Okay, I'm gonna find those, but literally,
they're good.
Yeah, if they were to come out with... Okay, well, first of all, how would they come out with the Blood Torva or the Dark Torva or whatever it is? Like, where would you like to see those kits come from? Nex itself or just somewhere else?
I don't know. They could add it. I don't want it to come from mid-level bosses. I was going to say they could add it from those because it's at least there's going to be a blood boss. I don't know. That'd be a little weird. And they could do like hard mode Sang kits, but I don't really like the RNG like kit grinds. I don't want to do more of those. I don't know.
Yeah. The one in
I love what
nice.
they did with Toa with the like challenges.
Yeah.
That's really fun. I love that it's like a kind of status thing.
Yeah, you're right. Dude, doing that, I remember when they first announced the Fang kit being 500. I'm like,
oh,
are you guys high?
Shivers.
Like that was just when we had barely seen Port Kazar do some weird ass mechanics to get his 500 done. And of course, that was pre some like updates and quality of life and stuff. But
those first 500s were so difficult because you had to choose between either medic or quiet prayers. If I did it today, it probably wouldn't be that bad. But at the time, it was like we had to figure out everything. It was so absurdly hard. You didn't have the guaranteed salts either from the no supplies info, so you couldn't run that. So you were down like 40 raid level, I want to say, like that first week.
Yeah,
oh, man. The like rush of like everybody at once trying to do that. So fucking fun.
And seeing people with it, you're like, you are a god. You're a god of this game. Yeah.
I was number 8 to get it. I think I felt like a million.
Hell yeah!
So fun.
Yeah, that kind of stuff's amazing. I would even like to see, like, I don't know, maybe Infernal Cape's too iconic at this point to add like a little like trim or something, but just something where it's like you've done a sub 50.
Oh,
Inferno.
they could. That would be fun.
You get like a little trim because I'll be honest, you see an Infernal Cape now, and it's literally like everybody can do the Inferno nowadays if you've just played this game for like, I don't know, a few thousand hours. Like you can do it.
Yeah.
But there's not that the only thing that differentiates now is just like the Zuck helmet. But it would be cool to see, like, okay, this Infernal Cape has a little bit of a edgier design because you did it sub 50 or something like that.
I'd love that. They could do that with a bunch of things for sure.
That would be amazing to see. I would actually push. I think a sub 50 I could do if I put in a month work. I'm not like a natural speedrunner, so that would destroy me. But I would definitely push for it. If it was sub 45, I'd be like, nope, I'm not even trying this.
No, that's hard. That's very hard.
Yeah. That would be cool though, like little upgrades like that. But you're totally right. Dark Torva, I need to see those dark prims eventually. I'm gonna find that.
Oh yeah,
that would be cool. By the way, so they're coming out with 4 new rings. One of them's a mage strength, one of them's range strength, one of them's a berserker ring with plus 12, I believe, instead of plus 8.
Yep.
And then there's just one that's like plus 4 strength and plus 12 stab or something. Like,
I forgot about that. Yeah.
Like, what? Can they not understand that like that's not going to ever be used?
They have to know, right? They have to.
Like why is this still coming? Like, come on, it's 2023. Like we've already seen this road of just useless items being put out. Like, make it so it doesn't have any strength, and give it like 35 accuracy or just something where it's like
40,
okay,
50 slash bonus, like where it's like, oh, okay, that might make Scythe relevant somewhere.
Exactly. Okay. Like, okay, this is actually going to be used in niche situations. I could actually use this. You know? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, dude. It makes you wonder.
It's so weird. It's like, do you even play this game? Like, come on.
Like, surely you know what a joke the Warriors ring is, right? You're just making Warriors ring 2 now? Okay.
I know. It's so bad. And I wasn't wrong by saying it was plus 4 strength only with a plus like 12.
No, that's correct. So plus 4 instead of plus 12. For
what is going on there? Like, you are high. That's so weird.
It's the equivalent of just not wearing an Inferno cape. Like, yeah, let me just do that.
It's like literally they designed that ring first and then let's make a Berserker ring that's on steroids, plus 12, and let's not even go back and review what we just made with the plus 4, plus like what is, I do not understand. But yeah, it would be cool to just see it.
Backsits are good, I swear. Mm-hmm. We like backsits.
It would be just awesome to see it like a crazy accurate ring. Just like, okay, this thing doesn't have strength, but your accuracy is going to be insane. That'd be cool.
I like that at least for like hammers.
Yeah, or just give us the guaranteed
Good
hammer
ink,
spec,
please.
please.
Please, oh please.
All right, let's see. Jaddy or JD asks, is it true that you have elvish ancestry?
I'm Dutch, so yeah, I guess basically equivalent. I think that they're basically elves over there. So,
All right. Does he have any ideas or thoughts on interesting and engaging ways to make future PVM content harder? Again, we've already kind of talked about this. Enrage mechanics would be amazing. For things like Blue Inferno or Raids 4, what would you like to see from those? Anything new we haven't touched on, maybe, that you're thinking?
the major thing in general is just keeping stuff. We all know what we don't like. I feel like the player base is really good for any game, like really good at knowing what we don't like. We don't like special attack meta being like, oh, I missed a hammer. Oh, I missed another hammer. Oh, I missed another hammer. That's annoying. And a high level Toa, that's a thing. Like you miss 4 BGSs on Baba, it happens. I've missed 7 in a row. I think that's my worst.
Oh my God.
It's so fucking. And then we don't like really overly tuned chip damage in general. That's not enjoyable.
Yep.
So the main thing is just like taking what we like. We love Tob. The nuance to all the rooms. The important thing is just like keeping in mind like how things evolve at a high level and just keeping us in mind. I just feel like we've been kind of left out of some things. I don't know. Like we're not in the forefront of the design process. I'm not a designer, so yeah. I can't be like, oh, just do this. I don't know. It's hard. But that's what I'm feeling.
Okay. You know what? So Pete is asking, why don't the beta worlds have the Venator bow? Which is yeah. Weren't there like a few things missing from like tournament worlds that were like essential?
So the beta for Bounty Hunter didn't have Divine Pouch. It didn't have Venator bow still. I was complaining about that even then. What else didn't it have? Oh, there's so many things they just like. I don't know why they can't just fill your bank with everything.
Dude, like they need to logging into a tournament world is like the most obnoxious thing. I log in, all my settings are messed up. It's you have to that's probably
I have
smart.
A full list of notes, like 30 bullet points. Like, okay, do your F keys, do your transparent chat, do your oh man, do shift click drop, do the warnings, do barbarian vial smashing. There's so many things.
Yeah, I don't know.
They can give us like 1,200 bank spaces. I don't get why we have to go through a dumb interface. And when I go to grab potions to run Inferno, I have to go to that chest. I have to pull out 10 at a time Sandfuse because you can't pull out noted potions, and they don't give you Sandfuse in your bank. So you go 20 Sandfuse to the bank, back we go. 20 Sandfuse to the bank, back we go. Just like do that 5 times. Just like they also forgot Kyrus. With the prayer? Like,
that was the yellow Kyrus.
How am I supposed to run Toa with no Kyrus?
That was it.
What do you mean?
Yeah. Not
You want me to test these prayer and give you feedback, and then I don't have the thing needed to do the content.
Yeah. They have to streamline that somehow. I have faith they can finally do it. Maybe like a preset or something. I know that would be like insane engine work probably on a completely fresh profile, but like...
I know it's probably not... They don't think it's like worth their time to do that
probably
kind of thing, but it is important. It is. You've got to have everything so we can test things. They should have hot fixed that in. Like, oh, no Kyrus. People
just
are complaining. Okay, we'll fix that in quick.
Just put it in.
Whoops. Now you can test Toa. Sorry. I think it was one of the JMods said they'd get Venator bow in the next week, and then they just scrapped the beta. I was like, okay, great. All right, well, next month I'll get to do that. That's cool.
Yeah, we'll see what they come out with. I really hope. So you're thinking that the 100% or like the 90% chip damage is going to be taken away, and it'll probably be 100% protection.
I have no idea. I hope so. I
hope they do.
Nobody likes it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay. He also was asking favorite OSRS gaming memory.
The sub 50. Oh yeah,
Sub
what?
50. Oh yeah, no. Sorry, I also passed his second question, which was high level Iron Man PVM when he wants that Iron Man PVM. What are your thoughts on Iron Man?
I don't like the being held back by supplies. I feel like I played Trailblazer leagues and I loved the like figuring out what I was gonna do, like a route through it at the beginning, like up to mid level in leagues. I know that's like all sped up, but up to like mid level in leagues, I was having so much fun. Like going like, okay, I want to take this place and I want to get these items and I'm gonna do this route. I'm gonna do this and this. That's really like fun to me. I would love doing that. But I feel like once you get to the point where you're like hard grinding like Bofa, and trying to get like a bunch of really rare items and doing stuff with really bad gear, I feel like I wouldn't enjoy that. Even at the point where you're like Lake and you've like done everything, you're pretty much a main, like your bank is worth like 10 bill or whatever. I think I still wouldn't enjoy it because I wouldn't want to use like Dragon Darts places, Blood Runes places, things like that. I don't like being held back by that.
It's pretty annoying. I honestly have a feeling that in the near future, there will just be ways to... It'll never be the same as main. Like, main is just way more convenient, especially if you're just a dedicated PVMer or speedrunner, like things like that. Like, I totally understand, especially when people de-iron. It's like, dude, you're just saving yourself a whole lot of time and just pain of grinding out
I
dragon
can't even
darts
be
and
like,
brutal
they
black
should...
dragons.
I can't even be a point to be like they should make it viable for Iron Man. I don't know how they would do that. How can you make speedrunning viable for?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I mean, the one thing they could do is like just basic stuff. For example, dragon dart tips and dragon arrows. Make it so like maybe some really difficult piece of content, or even just not a difficult piece of content, just somewhere where you can grind those ammo, like that ammo, like just quickly. Or
it would
something.
help. The dragon dart tips from Toa was a big like help.
That helped. Yeah. And
yeah,
that's where I feel like
stuff
they're
like that
leaning.
helps. But I don't think it's ever going to be like
It'll
you're
never.
never going to have sweets for CMs. You're never going to have infinite dragon darts. Like
It's just not the game mode for it.
Yeah, if you want to speedrun and stuff, I feel like you're not.
Just be a main.
You might have an iron on the side. You're not going to play specifically for that.
It's weird how like Iron Man mode, like it used to have way more of an appeal, and I think that was before Collection Log. Before Collection Log became like a main thing, it just felt like there was no real way to flex as a main, like your achievements when it comes to like bossing and stuff. Because you could just always say, oh, well, you just bought it on the Grand Exchange. Which honestly was a big reason I played Iron Man, was just for like, if you see your dude have a piece of armor, like you know you obtained it yourself. And now you don't really get that because now there's such thing as Collection Log. So you could just be like, I actually got this myself.
Yeah,
that's my
true.
opinion on the matter.
There's a lot of when I'm looking at a good player, like, if I ever see a Zuck helmet, I'm always looking them up. I'm like, oh, who's that? I'm always like checking KCs and that kind of thing. That's like, if I see somebody with like 50 Zuck KC, I'm like, ooh, they speedrunner? I can go look them up. You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's always like what I'm looking at, like accolades wise. I don't know. I'm not so worried about. I feel like items are just such RNG grinds, and like you can get spooned so many things. It's not appealing to me. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, nah, you're right. What are your thoughts on pet hunting?
I was really, I just hit 30 pets relatively recently. I got omelet.
Rats. Ooh,
so I have
omelet too. Hell yeah.
Omelet on like a terrible like multi-death raid with Elder Ball. That's so average. I was big into pet hunting like before I started streaming, but now I'm down to the pets where it's just like they'd be so boring, like doing Temperos or Zelcano or
God, thinking
or
of
Nightmare
Volcano.
Yeah, I think I'm good where I'm at. I'm slowly like working on. I'm still trying to get like DK's pets and that kind of thing, but I'm not super worried about. I don't need all the pets in the game to like be satisfied. It's okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Though. Yeah. Yeah. Thinking of, I had a moment like after maxing. I maxed the very end of 2019, and I was like, I'm gonna go for all pets. Like that sounds fun. Yeah, like a week into it, I'm like, dude, I have to literally do Hydra. Like, Hydra's not even the worst of the pets, but I was literally dreading doing Hydra. Like, I knew I wasn't built for it. I just can't pet hunt. It just, I burn out so easily.
I don't mind that, like, chilling out and doing content. I remember I really enjoyed. My longest Sarah trip was like 8 hours. I did it Dolo, and I just like totally chill, listen to podcasts all day, like a nice like day off. I don't really have that like time anymore though. I feel like, and it's just not interesting like on stream or anything like that. So
You'd be surprised, but I get your point. There's more interesting things to do, but I'm gonna be honest. Watching an 8-hour session of Gnomonkey doing Zilly, hell yeah, I'd watch that.
maybe coming soon. Who knows? But
yeah, pet hunting is it sounds good, and then you start doing it, and you think of like for example, Volcano, Temperos, Guardians of the Rift.
There's a lot of bad
pet.
ones.
Yeah. Guardians of the Rift pet. Oh my god, that was.
I do not ever want to go back there ever. Nah. I don't know.
All right. Agile Tom asks, "Where does your name come from?" Gnomonkey.
The very hard viewers may remember I did like 3 episodes of a gnome and monkey only Iron Man, where I did only gnome areas and then only like Apatal. So my goal was like finish that quest line. This is like in my first 3 videos years ago. But I came up with that before, and I was like, oh, that's like, it's got like a good ring to it. I'm down for that.
Yeah,
it's just stuck.
That's cool. Okay. This is coming from Greg. What is your favorite boss? I'm just gonna ask, what is your favorite boss? Let's even ignore raids. Like any bosses in raids even. So what's like your favorite normal boss?
Oh god. Because what's coming to mind is Nex. And I don't want to say Nex. I think it is.
I mean, to be honest, I think you have like the same sentiment as like Nex is really not as bad as like people make it out to be. Especially with all the new stuff that's out. I mean, Full Masori makes it a lot more enjoyable. Fang
CCB
makes it
Nex
more enjoyable.
was so bad, but now that like in Duo, there's like we've come up with this new it's not fully new. I think people were doing it. This new strategy where you do you kill that first minion Fumus, and then she does Fear the Shadow on P2, and both of you just run in, and you're wearing full Torva, so you have some like good defense, and you're just meleeing her anyway. You're just tanking through all of the fucking 25 range hits repeatedly and hoping she melees. So fun. You just like you pour brew onto her basically just to do hella damage, and then like run out when she doesn't brace darkness. There's a lot of like fun stuff that people like aren't conscious of. It's not cool. Like it was.
Yeah, it was much different. I think that's like the sentiment that people still have toward Nex is full Armadil, no such thing. The rapier, just using. Yeah,
just the fact you 5-tick under her with Fang makes it way more fun. Yeah, like rapier was good, but it's just like clicker.
Yep. You're totally right. That Fang was a game changer. That makes it a little more fun.
I always feel everybody hates Nex, and I always feel bad being like I enjoy. I think Nex honestly is like one of the probably. I hate Nightmare. It's weird. Everybody likes Fasani and everybody hates Nex. I think Nex is way more interesting and better. I think it's just the fact it's team. I don't know. Just one other person changes the complexity.
Yeah, no, you're right. I actually think I lean on Nex being more enjoyable. I think also the excitement, actually, it's kind of tough. The excitement of getting a drop at either of those places, Fasani's or Nex, is insane because they're so rare.
Yeah, I mean, at Fasani now on a main, it's not quite the same just because the drops are worth nothing. But I remember doing Nightmare early, and it was just like that Harmor being potentially like 2 bill, just wild.
Yeah, just see that blue cotton candy looking ball. It's like, I got 2 of those back when they were really expensive. Dude,
oh man, so fun.
Just felt good. Like, okay, this is all worth it. Yeah, Nex. And also they changed it so like combat achievements you only have to get 15 KC in, so it's like nothing to even get into Nex. It used to feel like a chore just getting to Nex, building up a little bit of KC, just like ugh.
Oh yeah, you have unlimited now. It's so much better. If you have Grandmaster completed, both of you, and you're duoing, you don't ever have to KC. You get the 15 and you go in.
Oh, are you serious? But is that doing?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it's so nice.
What is actually giving KC when you're actually killing Nex? Like, and how much do you get?
The minions do, Nex herself does, the Reavers do, so it all adds up. Like if you get
Oh,
like roughly
wow.
equal KC, you'll get enough to go back in.
Oh, that's crazy.
Sometimes if one person like didn't get like any of the minions, they'll have to kill like one mage.
Okay. Damn. That's really nice.
It kind of changes it. Yeah. If you have to like grind KC and if you die, you lose it all. It's like that's super
tilting.
frustrating.
Dude, they have to come out with those ecumenical key shards with all of God Wars, in my opinion. Like just
Oh, what do you mean?
So you know how you get those ecumenical key shards from Nex? They need to be introduced to all of the other God Wars bosses.
Like they just drop them?
Yeah,
that'd be nice.
Just here and there. I mean, it's really not that big of a deal, especially with Zuck Helmet now, just being 15 for like anything. But it would be nice to just have a stack of like 10,000 shards in my bank and just I never have to deal with KC.
Getting rewarded for doing a big trip at God Wars would feel good. I have where is it? Let me check. Ecumenical. I have 3,800. I don't know what I'm gonna do with those.
That's nice. That's nice.
I don't know. Maybe I'll use them someday. They're just like stacking up. You need so little KC with GM as well. It's just
that's the difference between 50. It used to be 30, so 30 really just felt like barely anything. But yeah, 15 is just changing the game completely. I still need to get 100%. My Zuck helmet back. That's the problem. I'm just sat here with 13 tasks. They're all TOA. They're literally not bad.
No.
I'm just like like I have to go do perfect Akka whatever with somebody and. Yeah.
I know the vibe. I really didn't want to do those either. Even as like one of the better like Toa like regulars, I didn't want to do any of that.
You just read the task. You're like, oh, do I really have to do this right now?
Oh yeah.
I'll get it done because as soon as you get it done, it's like okay, I can just breathe again. Like it's fine.
Yeah. It's so nice just being done.
Okay, let's see. There are so many like almost like repeat questions kind of. Okay. Oh, yeah. Here's a good one. Okay. Brad asks, thoughts on daily resets such as Magic Cape spellbook swapping, Elite Diary rewards. Also ask him if he ever gets tired of answering the same question over and over again.
No, I'm used to it. I'm surprised it didn't come up. I hate cape swaps. I hate daily anything. Okay. As an RS3 player, I think any RS3 player will agree that dailies are the dumbest shit ever. I saw a Reddit post at one point back when I played that game of the list of all the efficient dailies to do. And I roughly calculated how long it would take. And it was like 4 to 6 hours of efficient dailies per day you can do in that game. It's like you go sit on the stupid posts and get your agility XP. You go send out your ships. You go do your caches, your sync. Just a million different things you have to do every day. Like, I have to log in and do something. It's so annoying. Old school doesn't really have it that bad. I'd still prefer they not exist. Farming is my least favorite skill because of that.
I agree.
Like, a lot of people love farming. I despise it. I hate like being like, oh, my herbs or whatever. My trees are done. Oh, I better stop doing what I'm doing and go do that and get it growing again.
Yeah.
No. Cape, anything that limits PVM though, that is just so I can do 5 CMs a day. That's it.
Yep.
I can do 5.
That is stupid.
Why? Why? And I know it wasn't intended. It's just kind of come out that way as meta. I think cape swaps should, in RS3, it's unlimited and you can just only do it at a bank. I think I'd prefer if it recharged somewhere, but you only got like 1 or 2. And then it wasn't, if it was just completely unlimited, it would be like, you'd be swapping like mid-fight constantly, like with the cape. And I don't want that either. So it's like a balance.
So what if there was like, what if there was like a delay of like, you wouldn't be doing it mid-fight all the time because there's like a, I don't know, like almost, I don't know. Well,
I don't like that either.
Yeah, that's tough. That's a really tough one.
That makes me think of like Nex Alter, where it's like, oh, I'm being hit, I can't use this. But if I like, there's a couple rooms where maybe I can get away with it. Maybe I could get it off really fast between Vanguard resets. Yeah. Oh no, I didn't make it in time. Now I have the wrong spellbook. You know what I'm saying?
You're right. That would be tedious. So what is the way to do it? Is it that Grandmaster gives you 15 and Master gives you 10 or whatever?
I don't think anything should be daily limited at all. I don't think there's any reason for it.
But
there's always better ways.
So you think a better way would just be like to have to go charge it for like 1 or 2? Like I feel like that's like more obnoxious.
I'd prefer it be, so it's really obvious with like the ring, and we use run energy from ring charges a lot of places, and we use Valley Shield charges a lot. That's mainly Inferno. Like those both get used. Once they're gone for the whole day. If it was like you pour, I don't know, 10 staminas into the ring and it recharges, or pour 10 Sanfew into the shield and it recharges.
Ooh, wait. What about this?
Yeah.
What if the shield? So just talking about the Falador shield. What if you having full prayer points, you can dump your 99 prayer into it, but it can only hold up to 2. So you just go to your pool real quick, and if your Falador shield's empty, because then you can't actually do it in like an Inferno, because you would actually have to have those prayer points to fill it up.
Yeah. I don't know.
Honestly, it kind of just sucks. It kind of just sucks that that's even like something that you actually have to bring and do an Inferno run almost, because or the idea that like I don't know, it feels so strange to just that's even like, I don't know, it just creates metas that are so wonky. Like I have to bring in my Dire Cape stuff.
RS3 had this it was called Sign of Life, and they also have auras. So these are like little, it's an extra slot in your gear for auras, and you can put them on and activate them, and they last like an hour, and then it was like 4 hours recharge. And I think they fixed it at this point, like there's ways to recharge them. But both games have had this issue with like downtime for PvP. There's nothing that should be holding you back from doing stuff. Why are there cooldowns? What does that add? Doesn't make any sense. The fear with the cape swaps has always been PvP. Like people don't want like constant swapping in PvP. Like being able to use Ancients and another spellbook is crazy.
Yeah. But
if they limit it to 1 or 2, I don't think it would be a huge problem. I don't know enough about PvP. I'm not the guy, but also, maybe just make it not work there as well. I don't know.
Yeah, it's so tough. Honestly, just the mixture of, we are getting to a point where like we have to really limit what comes out with raids rewards and boss rewards because of PvP. Because like everything hits so hard now. And
it's getting ridiculous that what you can get stacked out for in one tick is just crazy.
Yeah. So what do you think the future is of that? Like, do you think there should just be weapons that are just never used? And I don't know. Sometimes like them going too far down the niche rabbit hole of just making everything really niche so it doesn't affect PvP is weird. But like,
I don't like that either. Yeah, I agree. I hate the like exclusions in specific. I don't like that the Fang is good in Toa in a completely weird and arbitrary way. There's no way as a new player to even know that like Fang is more. I don't know why they did that. I hate that. It felt like a thing just to quell people being mad about the nerf.
It's exactly what it is, and it's gonna keep happening like that because people are okay with it. It's so awkward.
I would prefer everything work the same everywhere. I know that's not like completely feasible, but if possible, I think they should avoid doing that kind of thing for sure.
I agree.
I don't mind the like Tebow being a bit stronger in Chambers and Shadow being stronger in. I don't know.
I wish it wasn't.
I think it would be superior if it wasn't. I get why they want it to forever be useful in the place it came from, and it kind of makes sense, but it's weird. I don't know why things work differently in different places. It's confusing as a new player.
It's so confusing. This whole game, if you have not been playing this game on a weekly basis, like as in you at least log in every week for the past like 6 years, this game has just become so confusing. I mean, dude, I will even miss like 2 blog posts and I feel so out of the loop. I'm just like, holy shit, like so much stuff just came in. Like what are we talking about right now? Like, it is insane. And so when I get people like asking questions about certain things, like sometimes I think in my mind, like on stream, I'll just be like, wait, like you don't know about this? And I'm like, dude, it's very easy to not know like almost anything in this game.
It's so easy. I don't think I could tell you how everything in the wilderness works right now. And I've played the game so long.
Bro,
I've gone in the wilderness a lot. I couldn't tell you.
It is a mess, dude.
How do untradables being lost work? I don't know. I don't think I could tell you.
It is such a freaking mess. Like you go out there. I remember like when they randomly just decided to make it so if you were attacked in the last 10 seconds in the wilderness, if you try to eat an angler, you just will cap at 99 HP. You have to wait until like your dude is really out of combat to the point where you could log out so that you can eat an angler.
So silly.
Like what? Like
that sounds like you made it up. That's real.
I know it's so bad. It's so, and it's like
so silly.
You have to learn it yourself. I mean, you go out there and you start realizing, like, you're like, what's going on? Like, there's no signs about this. There's no anything. You had to have read one blog post that was published in silence, basically, to understand any of this. And
then when you learn it, you'll die. You'll end up dying because of it. You're like, dude, I didn't know that. How was I supposed to know that?
Randomly one week they made it so like you couldn't teleport instantly. You just like, oh nope, stick around for a little. I literally wasn't even out in the wilderness. I just remember people were like trying to leave the rev caves and they just had to wait or something like that. Something was happening that caused a delay. Like you log in, you start playing, you think you're playing the same game you are, and then all of a sudden there's some weird delay and you die from it. Like I'd be so pissed.
I was bored messing around on PvP World, just running around messing with people, like dancing in front of them, like just being obnoxious. I ended up dying because somebody was sick of me, and I saw in the chat it said I'd lost the 50k entrance fee to the wildy bosses, and I was like, I didn't care that I lost 50k, but it was just so like infuriating that like I could be on a PvP World at the Grand Exchange and lose that. It's like, why did he just get 50k from me? I don't understand.
So stupid. Yeah, there's some weird stuff out there. Yeah, it's somebody's got to make a video of just every single thing that's different out in the wilderness compared to like, you know,
it would be irrelevant in like a week. So
it would be. Yeah, you'd have to upkeep this video. You have to keep deleting it and re-upping it.
Oh, we have to stop doing this. We have to stop. This is so silly.
Okay. Bailey wants to know, why is this guy the #1 OSRS streamer and doesn't have Twitter? Is there a reason you don't have a Twitter?
I've just never used it. I probably will in the future.
Don't use it.
I've just never gone on there. I use Reddit. I don't like Reddit, but I use it.
Yeah, well, you'll start using Twitter, and then you won't like Twitter either, but you'll continue using it.
Perfect. Yeah, it'll be the same.
It's the
I'm
same
sure.
Thing, yeah. Okay, oh, I like this. So Eric asks, what was the defining moment in your OSRS career where you felt like you grew from a noob to a high-level player?
Oh, okay. So I was in a point where I had just failed air traffic control school. I was doing that for months and I'd failed by 0.1%. They just kick you out. You're done. After that, you can't come back.
Oh.
Yeah. Very brutal. And I didn't know what to do. I was just like, I'll just start streaming. I could make it like, I really enjoyed doing that and I wanted to make it like kind of similar. And I'm like, I probably can do that with streaming. So I went to the Inferno Speedrun Discord and I asked Addy and a bunch of people like what settings they run and exactly like what layout for their UI. I'm like, what mouse DPI to use, what size client, and they gave me all this like helpful information. I laid it out, and then I just grinded Inferno for months and months. I just wanted to improve. I think before that, I'd done probably like 6 Infernos or something. I had a good chunk of the combat achievements. I'd done Tob, but I wasn't like super good at anything. So when you grind like Inferno speeds, you get a feel for the tick system so like intuitively. I think that was a real like shift for sure.
Interesting. Yeah, I haven't felt that obviously because I've never like grinded Inferno speeds, but you see it with anybody that decides to grind that for a month. I mean, even after a month, they're just so much better.
Yeah. I mean, you have to be in tune. Like, It's a rhythm. For sure. Even at content that's not, like, the same, you now understand, like, your attack cooldowns and your prayer, like, the attacks, the enemies, like, you understand how all that works, like, very intuitively.
That's cool. So would you recommend it for people that are looking to get better? Is that, like, the place to go, basically, Inferno?
There's a lot of ways you can. I love Inferno speeds. They're so fun, especially early on when you're not doing the stupid like no brew and like just pray you live shit. But like just doing like chins for the first time is like so fun. It's like a fresh thing to learn. Like the learning when you feel comfortable, like not blood barraging nibblers at the start for health, just chinning them because you know you're good enough to survive. That's really like fun and engaging. And once 2-tick flicking clicks, it's like, it was so bad for so long. I couldn't move in 2-tick flick, and then it clicked. It was just like, yes, I can do this now. Yes.
Oh, that's cool. That's inspiring. Like, it really is, because I mean that's something like in the back of my mind. Like, I'm all right at this game. Like, I've gotten a Zuck helmet before, so a lot of people see that as like, oh, you're just like one of the best or whatever. It's like, no, there is a huge gap between the people that can get a Zuck helmet and the people that are just nutty at this game.
I get asked a lot if I'm the best player, like in my chat, and it's always like, no, no, you have no clue. You have no idea. The gap from me to like Scotty is like, it's so absurd. And it's not a huge time gap or anything like that. It's just he is so like, he doesn't lose ticks. He's just so clean in all his gameplay. I don't know.
Yeah. And just to think as well, like, Scotty didn't start that way. To think that this has all been a progression. Like, he's worked his ass off. He's very consistent. He does the same thing. I mean, it's the same with watching you do TOA. I mean, you just watch it and like there's not like, oh, he might mess up. It's like, no, you're just watching and you're just like, oh, like he's got it. Like, you just are so calm and collected. Everything looks smooth. You know exactly what's about to happen, even if it doesn't look like your brain's processing it. It's just like, no, you know what's happening. It's the same thing with Lake as well. Lake, like,
he's a machine as well. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't have any like exact. Actually, exact was probably the most that I felt that when I'd watch exact do solo Tob or do like,
oh yeah,
any Inferno, it's like you don't even have to worry. You're just sitting back. Like, yeah, like maybe he'll mess
just
up.
Relax.
Like,
yeah,
everyone's human at the end of the day, so
perfect.
somebody's gonna mess up eventually. But like, you're not worried about that. You're just like, oh, he's got it. That's what's fun.
Yeah,
that's fun to watch.
I've had people as well tell me that I'm so good, it's like turned them off and made them not want to do things, and I just don't. I don't understand. I think people think I've always been good, and I have not at all. Yeah. I used to use inventory tags. The only boss I'd killed was Vorkath for a bit, and I was like so proud. The first like maybe 20 KC of Vorkath I did, I was like, oh, maybe one day I can do like Chambers and Tob. Maybe it might be possible. It makes me sad when people are turned off. I'm like, how? Like I've worked so hard to get to like the level I'm at, and I still want to like improve so much. It's so fun.
Yep. Yeah, I think that's really important for people to understand is like nobody starts off just amazing.
No one.
Nobody.
Absolutely no one.
Yeah.
We've all put in a lot of hours. Some people it comes more intuitively too, but everybody's put in hard ass work to be good, for sure.
Yep. Yeah, if somebody were to just like pop into like Scotty's stream for the first time ever and just see that and be like, oh, like you're like this, it's just demotivating because you're just so good. Like, dude, he's doing the same thing, pushing, like concentrating every single day. Like, just he goes in every single day and works at it. It's like anything in life. If you were to do something every day consistently for hours, you're going to get really good.
100%. The game is not that difficult at like a base level. The game updates 0.6 seconds a server tick. That is slower than any game I can think of. There's no frame perfect tricks or anything like that. Nothing requires like complete perfect timing, besides maybe like gear switches where you fit in like a bunch before the tick. But everything is doable for sure. Everything in the game is doable. There's nothing that is like impossible. Just it takes work.
So who do you think is the best PVMer when it comes to... I know this is always like such a broad question. I've asked quite a few people in the cast. It always differs.
I can't point to one I think Scotty is like, he has so many records and is so like jack of all trades, like amazing at the game that it's not... he comes to mind for sure. But there's so many different aspects to PVM than just like they have clean clicks and are good. There's like Port Khazard who can like lab out anything with the game and figure it out. Figure out solo necks, how to do that. Figure out how to kill Zuck by like tick eating the balls with like P-neck redemption. Like, dude,
dude is crazy.
he puts the explanation on screen, and it's just like, yeah, my eyes are glazing over. Like, I know everything, and my eyes are still glazing over. I'm like, okay, yep, okay, yeah, you can do that, sure.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many. It's not like Porkazard isn't like the cleanest like player, but he's amazing in that like aspect. GE challenge him like figuring out the tiles for like any given method. Like,
Dude, the dude revolutionized God Wars.
Yeah,
completely revolutionized it. Yeah,
he helped figure out the like crazy like Akka Simon Says zigzag for 1+1s that I use now. He just like knows how like things move and stuff.
Sheesh.
Like he can just picture it. I've heard he uses like graph paper for all that as well. I love that.
That's so cool.
It's so cool. Yeah, there's no one person I could point out. Like Wooks is amazing at like figuring stuff out.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people are, and a lot of people are just really clean in their gameplay. It's not really fair to point to one person. It's just not realistic.
What
New
about
type as well with Toa? Just crazy.
Oh yeah, holy shit.
Just absurd.
Yeah, just comes out of nowhere too. Like that is the other thing you have to understand is like,
yeah,
there are so many amazing players that don't create content or that aren't really well known.
I played with Noob Type before. I'd done like CM5s with him. It was nothing too crazy. Then like Toa happens and he just like grinds the crazy high rate. I loved it. I was like, no way.
That's insane. Okay, so what are like the greatest feats, the greatest PVM feats of old school in the past, like, I don't know, 5 years? Are there any that come to mind that maybe aren't super well known? I know like 40 Combat Inferno by Exact was pretty insane.
First solo hard mode as well, pretty crazy with Chris Keys.
Oh yeah, that was so soon after.
Yeah, he is a monster. Solo hard mode even now I don't want to do it. It's so I wish I could even like describe how much harder it is than a regular solo top.
Try to describe it, because
okay.
Literally so many people, including like I've never solo top. So like just they almost seem the same because they're both just insanely hard.
Okay, solo top is really like heavy like supply management, like making sure you don't waste too many brews, like trying to do each room as well as possible, not wasting prayer, flicking soda tag really well so you don't have to like waste any there, like trying to keep track of your supplies. Hard mode, it's Nilocus. Nilocus, you need more supplies and you use more. You need to get through the room using less, but you need more. And then you also need more supplies for Verzik, and you get less points in hard mode. So it's just like, because Verzik has the 30% extra health, which is insane in a solo. That is so much more to do. So just, you got to be perfect. It's the perfect supply management in each room. You could get through Nilos in hard mode and then still reset because you're like, well, I don't have enough supplies. There's no way. This is impossible at this point. It's just like, not only being able to do the rooms, but do them like near perfectly is insane.
Dude, yeah. I just think of like a cold one doing Zarpus. And like when you see that as somebody that's never done it, like if you're looking at Zarpus and you're saying, okay, I got a solo this, and seeing that whole rhythm of like, dude, that room alone, it just looks so insanely stressful.
It's crazy. Zarpus goes from like the free room to one of the hardest rooms. It's just...
Oh, yeah, that too. Because of like the extra acid, right?
It's usually completely free. Now you use a bunch of prayer pots on him. Like,
yeah, that's ridiculous.
Oh, man. Hard mode is absurd. I don't know if I'll ever do that. I might at some point, but I've got no plans. It's hard mode. Solo hard mode top is so like... so absurd.
What do you think is
making time with it as well? I know like a handful of people have done that. How?
What do you think is harder, soloing normal Tob or no pillar Inferno?
Solo Tob is harder for sure. No pillar's not that bad.
Okay.
No pillar is pretty much learn to 2-tick flick, like the Inferno, and that's it. Once you can do that. It's awkward in the 50s because you got to off-tick the Ranger, but it's really, you can bring a Torva chest plate, which is what I did, and you can really like get away with so much that it's not, it didn't take me that much. I want to say it took me 3 or 4 attempts. I'd already done a lot of speedruns, so I was pretty good at Inferno, so it's not fully fair, but...
Yeah, you're right. I feel like saying no pillar inferno, if you just think about it, like just based off that, like, oh crap, that's insanely hard. But really it's just wave like 50 to 63 or just like
The fact everything in the Inferno is a pillar anyways, it's just run up to the nearest like ranger or mage and just like safe spot them melee. It's typically what it breaks down to. And just 2-tick flick perfectly the whole time.
Yeah, just do that
it's a little,
perfectly.
It's a little rough, but
Yeah.
no, it's not that hard. It's easier than people would think, I think.
Yeah, it's crazy to just think of like all these just incredible players. And so do you think that in the next 5 years, I'll even shorten it down, 3 years, let's say by 2026, do you think it'll be another huge leap of we think everyone's insanely good right now, but technically in the next 3 years, like we're going to look back at 2022, 2023-ish and be like, oh, we were just peasants back then. Like,
oh man,
we're getting
I'm
even
sure
better.
it's happened every few years.
Yeah.
I can't picture it. I have no idea.
Me
How
neither.
can you improve over current like Inferno runs even? You already take nothing.
I know.
It's going to be take less prayer or something. Like they'll get even better at flicking. I don't know.
Do you worry about like old content becoming very, very easy, or do you not mind that? Like with new gear and stuff coming out.
This is why I really liked Invention with RS3 because it kept like that old content relevant for like newer players. God Wars is never going to be what it was at release. Even Zulrah when it came out, I wasn't there, but my understanding is that was the end game. Like, not many people could do it, and the people who could were making boatloads.
Yep.
It's just the game is not. It's going to change. There's no stopping it. It will change. It will either change or it will die. They're not going to let it die. They're not going to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I don't know. Most places generally when they get easier, it actually kind of makes it more fun. Like I think Zulrah right now is really fun with Max.
It is. It actually is.
Like it's like 42 kills an hour. And probably even more if you just are using Narda and back, like and you're just restoring spec. But like just using the scroll on the ground and not using any of like your other scrolls really. It's like, dude, it's fun. It's addictive.
Even if it gets easy, there can still be like interesting tech. Like Zulrah has a lot of like interesting stuff going on still that keeps it like fun. Even if it's not crazy, it's like you can do the pillar like stalling to keep her in mage phase longer.
Yeah.
You can be praying properly against the snakelings to avoid them hitting. There's a lot of it's not too crazy, but there's stuff to it that keeps it interesting.
Yeah.
As long as like bosses maintain that. I don't think Muzpa's ever going to be like kill it in one hit. It's always going to have the like interesting mechanics and stuff going on. So that's what really matters.
It's cool that Muspa still, even though like I feel like most bosses nowadays, they're really trying to just, they focus too hard on the mechanics almost, where it just becomes like less fun because there's just such drilled in mechanics that you need to do this. But I still like the fact that there's like the smite skip and all that.
Yeah.
Like that's cool.
Yeah. There's enough going on that it's like, okay, I can grind this. This is still fun.
Yeah, exactly. What are your thoughts on speed running when it comes to a calculated speed run, such as like things like Mulgoat Kirby does, where it's like do a boss that should only take about a minute and a half and try to get the world record on it? Does that appeal to you?
I did that a little bit with Muzpa. I had record for like a day, and then Kirby came and annihilated it. He's more suited to it because he can sim everything and he can figure out the exact like efficient method and know the exact odds of what he's trying to do.
Nuts.
Yeah,
that's so cool.
That makes it way more reasonable. Because if you don't know what like how reasonable anything you're going for is, it's not as fun.
Yeah.
It's not really my forte. I like it occasionally, but I love to push things that are skill gapped instead of just like it's a 1 in 10,000 chance to get everything to line up perfectly. As cool as it can be, it's not really my deal.
I gotta say though, those clips like when Mulgo got that like 27 second Zulrah or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Like,
and he breaks it down. He's like, okay, I do this, and then this resets my tick cooldown so I can fit this, and then it's always cool.
Yeah, just like the clip of actually getting it. But yeah, oh my god, the amount of resets is just like, this is not fun.
Yeah, it's pretty mind-numbing. It's pretty much the same as like doing a pet hunt, honestly.
It really
like,
is. Yeah.
Not snatching a record, but
Yeah. Huh.
I think he would have had Grotesque Pet in the amount of time it took him to get that if he just like killed them normally.
I know.
Probably.
I know.
He did that so long.
Yeah. Just like praying for rubies, basically. It's like, oh, this is not.
Yep.
Yeah. But like you said, I mean, obviously, I also agree. Like the Inferno speedruns and CM speedruns are much more fun because there's not just like you're not trying to calculate like I got to do this 8,500 times to get the whatever. It's like no, there's skill to every bit. You can mess up constantly.
CM's is probably the closest to that I go on things I grind because you're like near perfect in a CM. I probably lose like 20 seconds to mistakes, but like for the most part, it's just like RNG. Like hope you get something going, and then that rush when you have like a really fast run going. It's like it's a good length, and it's and it has enough like skill input that it's still like fun.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I have a few little things I want to talk about that are things I always think of. So one of them is the whatever this tab's called. What's the first tab called? The combat tab or whatever. So when you're shooting ranged weapons, there's accurate, rapid, and long range.
Yes.
Why the hell why the hell is it still like you lose a tick by doing accurate and long range? Technically, you're not losing the tick. That is like the base tick, but you're speeding it up by 1 with rapid. Can we decide like, hey, maybe keep them all the same tick, but actually have different things where like rapid is no longer called rapid, it's called aggressive, where maybe you get 1 max hit over, but accurate is a significant boost in accuracy, and long range is the extra long range without any of the other bonuses. But something where it's not just like, okay, you are now losing 20 to 25% DPS by switching to this side.
Stabs do it a lot better where it's like long range is a very tiny difference, but there's cases like at Ulm where you want to drag and use like accurate. That works a lot better. I wouldn't be opposed to that. They'd have to be very careful because ranged is so powerful. My highest XP is ranged at 190 mil, and then my strength is like 130 mil. Like we are definitely in like ranged meta. So if they did something that like took that out of whack even further, that would be not good. But I'd be down for that to be like worked a little bit. Accurate has like a handful of uses where like
like Zora's one of them.
Yeah, Zulrah. That like first rotation of Vanguards, you can get 2 accurate shots off guaranteed. Couple cases in Muzpa, like with the Shadow phase, you're going to be losing ticks. You can use it a little bit, but it doesn't do anything. It doesn't give max hits anymore. I don't think. It doesn't even matter.
Yeah, it's just like making sure that you get that like 0.1% extra accuracy that might make a difference.
It's nothing.
I almost
it's
feel
cool,
like,
but it's nothing.
Yeah, no, and you're right. Like there is those niche case scenarios, but I think it would actually be even better for it to actually be the same tick and then have those niche be like, do I want the accuracy right here or do I want the strength?
I'd be down to keep one like slow style that does like quite a bit more, maybe like 4 max hits or something. Yeah. And then also have like what you're saying, where it's like one is actually more accurate. They're all the same speed. One is more like damage a little bit.
That's true. If they wanted to actually keep it how it is and just lose the tick, make it like significant. Make it so being inaccurate is like, okay, this is actually gonna just be super accurate.
I think the way it works now is it's plus like 3 range levels.
Yeah.
So they could just make it like more.
Oh, it is plus 3, so you do occasionally get max hits, right, from accurate?
You did before Masori, I think, but now it doesn't matter. I don't think. Maybe it's relevant in a couple cases, like weird cases, but
okay. Like Slayer helmet might do it.
I don't think it. It might be like overloaded somewhere with the setup. I don't know.
Interesting.
It's very rare that it matters. I think now.
That is true. Oh yeah, it's always plus 3, even with like melee styles, right? It's like plus 3 strength or plus 3 attack or plus 3.
Yeah, and I think rapid is plus 1 or something, so it's like only a tiny bit better. So it's like kind of rare that it does anything. But...
Oh, okay, interesting. The fact that a rapid's actually giving something, like, dude, you're already.
I think it does. I'm not 100%, but I want to say it does.
The other thing is, what are your thoughts on a second ring slot?
Mm. That would be so powerful.
It would.
RS3's added a lot of slots. It worked well in that game. I don't know. Gear slots is actually another way to like kind of add to PVM besides like prayers is the like main thought, and then like extra gear is also like the other way they can improve the game. It is an option. RS3 has a bunch of like buffs you can activate. Like there's a pocket slot and there's a aura slot. Things like that. They give like a temporary boost or like a boost for a period. I don't know. It's second ring slot.
Thing is, with a second ring slot, is it's just gonna be like you just wear the same ring twice. Like that's all it's ever gonna be. Wear double
they could
light
prevent you
bearer.
from doing that, but then it would be wear light bearer and a ring every time. I don't know if it would add that much.
Yeah. I've one of the suggestions I had like years back was a belt slot.
Oh yeah.
And so yeah, you just have like your D hide you would turn into like the leather belt, and then you'd have like a belt buckle that you could get like a belt buckle from like a boss that's like unique, like a Bandos belt buckle, or you could just make your own like a diamond one and like enchant it or whatever. But I was like, dude,
sure,
that would actually be kind of cool. Just have like a little, and then that could also be the lore behind like the tool belt eventually. Dude, I want a tool belt. Holy shit! Like I'm sorry if that has like some RS3 like thing to it that people don't like, but man, if I could just walk around and have all my like stuff for clue scrolls just in a belt slot, like oh my god, I'd be upset.
I think they should just keep the like main tools off it, like pickaxe and axe. I'd be so down for that. I hate keeping all that shit in my bank for no reason.
Yep.
So I can occasionally do something with it. Yeah. I need a chisel at all times. You never know. Might be using it.
Okay. Yeah, those are like my two main things. Okay, the last thing I'll ask, I know you're not like, actually, you kind of were a clue scroll hunter. You did get a bloodhound, right?
At 17.
Oh, okay. You were a clue
hunter. Yeah, I'm a hunter. Yeah, that's me.
17. Okay, I did not know that. I just remember asking, like, oh, you could buy it on DMs, and you're like, I already have a bloodhound. I'm like, oh, this man games. He must be 17.
Yes, he's like me. He grinds many clues. No.
Listen, what about Grandmaster clues? Have you thought about that?
I've considered PVM clues as well. I don't know how exactly that would look, but
okay, so
I'm sure like a Grandmaster clue would be something like that, like kill bandos.
See, that's what most people think. I'm going to share my thoughts on what a Grandmaster clue would be. In my opinion, a Grandmaster clue would stay as a clue. It would be completely different than other tiers. It would be, and it would have that high risk, high reward, where it would be like this: you open up a master casket, and maybe you see the reward, maybe you don't. I think it would actually be cooler to see the reward, but you see the reward, and then you're offered, hey, you get to keep this reward, or you can turn it into a Grandmaster clue, or something like that. And of course, master clues for the most part, you would just basically take the Grandmaster every time because they're worth like what, 400k. But
right, let's get like 30 pickaxe or something.
like maybe you would only proc a Grandmaster if it was gonna be something that's actually worth something significant. Who knows how it would go? But
maybe okay.
So you're given the Grandmaster clue. You have to throw away what you were previously given, and then you get this Grandmaster clue. And what it would be is it maybe even just one or two steps, but it's like, okay, you open it up, a timer starts, and it's like,
yeah,
okay,
I was going to say that.
You have to dig here, and then so you're here, and you have to go and get to the spot as soon as possible. And when you dig, instead of it being like a cabbage man, you got like 3 Jads spawned, like miniature Jads, and it's like they will one-shot you if you make a mistake. So you are now in a random forest in Gielinor with 3 Jads on you, and you have to kill them or whatever. And then after you kill them, you're all excited that you killed them. But before you do anything, you got to inspect your casket because the casket might have a trap on it or something where you're not actually aware. You click it, you insta die or something. So you have to like inspect it, do all this. And there's like little tricks and little things and and of course, Runelight's going to solve all this for you eventually at some point. But like at least on release, there's going to be like a lot of different traps and tricks and things, and like timers where if you don't get it, it just destroys the clue. But nothing.
The timer is huge because then it means it doesn't sit in your bank like
Yeah.
Masters do until you
Yeah.
have a requirement. So then it's like, am I confident I can do it in like right now?
Yeah.
And then it's like, do I want to throw my master clue loot away to potentially have something I can't necessarily do? I maybe not have like stupid high skill recs, but something difficult to
See,
do. in,
that
like, a short
that would
period.
be the importance of it, is make it nothing like the other previous tiers where there's skill
Yeah.
requirements. It really is just like an attachment to your master that's really intense, time-based. Not terribly time-based where it's like you can't miss a tick or something. It's just something where it's like it's pushing you.
There's
like,
pressure.
Go. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be fun.
That would just be awesome. And then you get to reclaim your master reward or whatever, plus an additional loot or something. I don't know. Whenever I hear of grandmasters being like, "Oh, go show a Zook helmet to Fallow," like, oh my god, that looks
Yeah, it's
so
nothing. It's a
boring.
nothing.
Yeah,
Sit in your bank forever.
yeah.
Or if you've got everything, they're just free. It's nothing.
Exactly. I don't know if like now's the time, but I think in the next like 2 or 3 years, some grandmaster clues would be warranted. It'd be kind of fun.
RuneScape 3's clue scrolls are just so much better than old schools. I actually built my bank in that game doing hard clues. Because of invention, like I said, like all of the like little things are worth money. And they added these dyes that you can use on like almost any piece of PVM armor. And it changes it so if the armor like fully degrades, they have some stuff that crumbles to dust. If it's like that, now you can repair it. So like those dyes are like as rare as third age, and they're like worth a good amount. Very, very fun.
Do you think dyes should come out to old school?
I don't think it would hurt, and it would add like a nice little thing to clue scrolls, and it's a cool thing for like, again, for like rich players to like snag.
Yeah, that's
Having
what I'm
stuff
thinking.
to sink money into for people who want to grind stuff is good.
Mm-hmm. Plus, it's probably now. I don't know how RS3 does it, if there's like a bunch of different dyes, but I'm
There
even
is,
thinking,
yep.
wait, what if there was just wait? So how many dyes are there in RS3? Like more
When
than
I
4?
played, there were 3 or 4. There was like Shadow dye, Blood dye, Barrow's dye, Third Age dye. I think that's what I remember. I think they might have added more, but
Okay, yeah, like 4 would probably be appropriate. I'm just thinking like if there's like way too many, then it ends up just being like you've just unleashed a bunch of third age and collection loggers are gonna freak out. But
yeah,
even if
and it would like just like bleh the whole game as well.
Yeah.
Like kind of screw some cosmetics.
But even if it was just one die, it would just be like releasing one more piece of third age, kind of, and or maybe it would even be the rarity of just getting a non-specific third age. So it's actually quite common. I don't know.
Yeah, I think they're like that. They're not like
they're not a
think they're-
specific third age. They're like just on
yeah.
the third. Okay.
It's like a roll at third age would be a die, kind of.
Oh, okay. So it's like a
So they're like
gilded
feasible.
piece.
I got 2, so it wasn't like that crazy, like impossible to get. But
That would be cool because then clue scrolls, would have that. Okay, now these are worth something significant, especially when they're first released. Holy shit,
hey, if you wanted a place to put Blood Torva, I mean,
that would be amazing.
that is an option.
Yeah, that would be great.
I'm just saying.
That would be sick.
I'd be down. That would work.
I look forward to that stuff coming from Clue. I don't know. The last time we had a Clue Scroll expansion was what 2019, I think, was Mimic's release.
Yeah, be that. And before that, there was like years as well.
Yeah, it was 2016 for Masters. Like, yeah, I'm excited
Yeah.
for a new Clue extension. They're always so fun initially because, this is like the hype of like all these brand new things coming out. I don't know. I'm excited.
I love in RS3 that the average value of them is like actually like the average hard clue is not worth your time at all if you're a main.
It's not.
So it's nice in RS3 being like, oh, it's like a mil, like per clue, like average.
Yeah,
like-
that's crazy.
Pretty good.
Okay. Gnomonkey. Gonna kind of wrap things up. We kind of covered a lot of the topic. By the way, I just got to say, this has almost been 3 hours. This felt like it was like half an hour. Like this flew by.
I really enjoyed it.
Hell yeah. No, this was a ton of fun. And a lot of people have just been begging for you to come on. So I'm glad we could finally get this going.
No
And,
more begging. We've done it.
I'm a huge fan. Guys, down in the description, Gnomonkey's YouTube, Twitch, not Twitter yet. Is there any other links you'd want linked down there?
That's the main thing. That's all you need.
Okay. Guys, go check. If you watch my content at all and you like rambles, his rambles are on steroids of mine. He actually puts like graphics and other like actual insight to his rambles. So go check him out if you like rambles and stuff like that. Gnomonkey is your guy. Go follow him down there for me, and follow him on Twitch as well. He's always doing some high level PVM, just really chill streams, always good vibes, never getting terribly pissed off at the game, or at least just not he doesn't show it, at least.
I do. I definitely do. Oh, I wanted to say as well, I didn't say it earlier, shout out Cardiac. I'm sorry.
Shout out Cardiac.
I meant to.
I did.
Shout out Cardiac.
Hell yeah. Okay, Gnomonkey, before we end, I'm going to ask you for 3 shout outs from the community. Anybody, it can be content creators, JMods, viewers, players.
Man. Shout out to Axter Pillar. He's always with me and helping me find stuff. He's kind of an underrated player. Smork came to mind. Shout out Smork. Shout out Mr. Scotty. Sure.
Hell yeah.
Man's machine.
Okay. There you have it, guys. Thank you all for listening. Next week, we don't have anybody planned yet, but I'm in the works because of like the whole Tennessee trip. I just wasn't planning for guests in advance terribly, but rest assured there will be a guest on, and hopefully it'll be someone exciting that you guys have been begging for. Hopefully, we'll see. I have a few names in the back of my mind that I'm thinking of asking. So anyway, thank you guys for listening, and we will catch you in the next one. Peace.
Later.